That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week is episode 28. We're covering June through July of 1998, and this is First Blood. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, how you doing this week?
Doing well, man. Kind of looking forward to seeing if Kane lights himself on fire here.
Yeah, set myself on fire.
Just so ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where we left off last week. We were covering on our episode 27 of Bloodbath, where he drenches Stone Cold, and he even mentions earlier that this will be, a match where he'll set himself on fire, and he has his voice modulator, and so all kinds of wacky shit last week, and it's just going to continue on, and we got some good shit going on with Stone Cold this week. Some surprising stuff at the time that many didn't expect to happen, and we'll get into that. So definitely some historic points in Austin's career, and a few, he has a few rivals at this point. He's got the deck stacked against him thanks to Vince McMahon, with all these villains coming out after him. It's like he's Batman, and you got the rogue gallery of villains now.
Yeah, right. And they all practice the dark arts.
Yeah,
clearly.
Mankind, Kane, the Undertaker. So they're all coming out now. But yeah, was there anything you wanted to talk about before we jump into this action-packed episode?
No. I think we're ready to go right into one of the better pay-per-views of that era.
Yeah, a lot of memorable things happening here. One that sticks out greatly, and we'll definitely talk about it. But yeah, let's get into it. It's King of the Ring 1998, June 28th, 1998, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk about the Austin-related things first and all of that, and then we'll get to some of the side notes and different things that happen at the pay-per-view. But one of the first Austin-ish related things going on is Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon's going to come out, and he's going to be announced by Sable, and he's going to come down the ring and kind of give us a little warm-up of what to get ready for. He's trying to get the audience ready for something that might happen later in the night. So take a listen to Vince McMahon, and then we'll talk about it after that.
Sable's being dismissed. She introduced the boss, and what happened? Well, Patterson getting a little liberal in territory he's not familiar with.
I dare having a woman slap me! Get out of here!
What did Pat do? I missed it.
I don't care!
He patted her on the derriere, King.
Let me tell you something. Each and every one of you people should be on your feet cheering Mr. McMahon, who's brought you wrestling here for the last 10 years. Have a little respect for these legends in the ring.
Right. Look at Briscoe wipe off the microphone.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here tonight. And I wonder how many of you have joined us because you want to see the WWF Championship change hands here tonight.
Yeah, here I am.
How many of you have joined us because you want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated here tonight?
Yes, defeated, yes.
That's Michael Moore.
And should Kane not be successful in his acquisition of the title. How many of you have joined us to witness Kane setting himself on fire here tonight?
These people are sick.
They have an attitude.
Of course, this is Pittsburgh.
Well, I would suggest that you're probably setting yourselves up for one great big disappointment. That should come to no surprise to the vast majority of you, because I would suggest that your entire lives have been a symphony of disappointments.
Right, they live in Pittsburgh, for one.
I happen to like Pittsburgh.
I mean, let's face it.
Listen up.
You probably, in all likelihood, were a disappointment to your mother and father. You didn't quite measure up to that level of success that your parents wanted for you.
Right.
You didn't quite make the grade, whether it was athletics or academics. You didn't quite measure up, so therefore you were a disappointment to your very parents. But then again, when you think about your mom and your dad, hey, I bet they disappointed you too, right? Because in the end, when you suffer disappointments, as all of you have through your lives thus far, who are you ultimately going to blame? Yourselves? Are you ever going to look in the mirror? I don't think so. You're going to blame good old mom and dad, right?
Dysfunctional
It's
families.
that lousy DNA syndrome.
Right.
I mean, you blame mom and dad for the propensity to be obese. Maybe you blame mom and dad for that genetic heart defect. Who knows? But nonetheless, you know what failure is all about. You know what disappointment is all about. So therefore, I simply stand before you here tonight to sort of soften the blow of the disappointment that you're going to feel when Austin loses the title here tonight.
Another generous move by McMahon.
I want to prepare you for what you're going to feel deep down in your stomach when Austin is no longer the WWF champion.
You'll be sick, won't you, JR?
Indeed, I want to warn you of the inevitable. When Austin is defeated and the ring announcer in this very ring tonight says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match and the new World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane!"
Yes! Stand up and cheer, you idiots.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know why Mr. McMahon's remarks had to be so personal to all these fans here in Pittsburgh, King. I don't understand what you're trying to do. Get everybody prepared for Kane to become the WWF champion?
Well, I guess so, because, you know, everybody here has been such die-hard Stone Cold Steve Austin fans. Could be a huge letdown for him.
Let's take a look here at Mr. Patterson.
All right, so as I had said, Vince McMahon makes his way out. He's announced by Sable. Pat Patterson's even there. He's telling Pat Patterson's telling Sable to leave the ring, and he even pats her on the ass as she leaves. Then she just turns to him and smacks him across the face. And the great line from JR is, you know, this is unfamiliar territory for Pat Patterson.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Then McMahon gets into his promo, and he's basically talking about disappointments. You know, the people of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania have disappointed many people. You know, you like to blame your mom and your dad for your problems, and you need to look in the mirror sometimes for why you have your problems. And he just wants to prepare everybody for the disappointment that they're all going to have when Austin is no longer WWF champion. And I want to warn you, when Austin is defeated and the ring announcer names Kane as the new champion, that it's going to happen. And it's cool because, you know, obviously we know what happens looking back at it, but at the time that's pretty cool to just kind of point it out there, and everyone's kind of just probably thinking bullshit. But it does seem like Vince McMahon is just trying to get them prepared for it. Like, hey, I'm letting you know this is going to happen. So don't be freaking out when it happens.
He's definitely getting the crowd ready for it, and he's also like hyping the crowd up inadvertently. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's interacting with the crowd, like, oh, when the crowd wants to see the WWE Championship change hands tonight, everyone starts booing. And then who wants to see Kane light himself on fire? Loud cheers. People want to see a guy light himself on fire. And Lawler has a good little remark. He's like, oh, these people are sick. They're cheering. So, but point you made about Pittsburgh, he calls it, I think, lousy DNA syndrome.
Yeah.
That they get from their shitty moms and dads.
Yeah, so he's really going heel on the Pittsburgh crowd and getting them hyped up and kind of misleading them into thinking, Stone Cold's going to come away with this, but even telling them, he's not going to walk away with this tonight. And later in the night, Paul Bearer is going to expound on that too, and he has just a little hype up type promo that we'll play for you right now. So take a listen, and we'll briefly talk about it after that.
I don't know either. Maybe he'll tell us right now.
You didn't think I was going to be here tonight, did ya? I had you know that I wouldn't miss this night for the world. I took 2 of the worst beatings I've ever taken at the hands of your phenom, The Undertaker.
Took a licking and he's still ticking.
And last week, when the doctor was taking the stitches out of my head, every stitch that came out, dead man, I cursed you to hell. And tonight, I still curse you to hell. But for 20 years, my son Kane sat all alone in his home, in his room, surrounded by pictures of his brother. On Saturday, he would watch WWF Superstars. He would tell me, Dad, I want to be like him. His whole life he suffered. His whole life he was ridiculed. He couldn't play Little League. He couldn't be in the Boy Scouts. He couldn't go outside in the sunshine because the sun hurt his scars so bad. But he would say, Daddy, I want to be like him. How do you think it makes me feel? Tonight will be the happiest night of my life, because when I leave this ring, I will be the father and the manager of the WWF champion. And then you can laugh at the fat man all you want, because I'll damn sure laugh all the way to the bank.
Vengeance is mine, saith Paul Bearer.
Well, as you
All right, so you have Paul Bearer just saying he's going to laugh he's going to laugh to the bank. When Kane wins the championship, he's laughing all the way to the bank, and it's just more of that getting the audience ready for what's about to happen, and they're building it up throughout the night that Kane's going to win, and everyone's like, bullshit, which is great because you're creating excitement for the match, and in their minds, Stone Cold's their man, and he's going to come away with it against all these odds. And the whole night they've been being told Kane's going to be the champion at the end of the night. So here we go. We get to the match. First blood match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kane. And this is coming on right after the Hell in a Cell match. So the emotions are so high in that match.
Follow.
Right. So it's definitely going to be tough to follow. We'll talk about that match in the pay-per-view side notes. But yeah, you're just going to know that this is happening right after that. And I think it holds up, though. It's not like the audience drops off. It's kind of like a continuation of the previous match. You just have a couple different people in the ring. Because there are even at points in this that we'll get into that the Hell in a Cell is involved. And, we at the end, we still get Mankind involved. So, yeah, it's kind of just all mixed together because that's really the feud going on is you have that dynamic of Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, and Stone Cold all involved with things, and they were in these back-to-back matches. So it's kind of just like continuation. That's how I viewed it.
No, that's a good view. I didn't have that point of view, but it's actually great. Like it's a true main event. It's a true double main event.
Right. A double main event.
I've never looked at it that way, but yeah, it's basically a continuation of the story.
Yep. Yeah, so very cool how they kind of weave that in. And we're gonna start before we get into the match details. I want to play a little audio pre-match package for you, which was really good. They've been doing great video packages to hype up their main events. So we're gonna play this one for you. I know if you've been listening to our previous episodes, you kind of got it down. We've talked about all these things that happen, but for some people, this might be the first episode they're listening to. Maybe they just wanted to listen to the first blood match and what happened in that. So here's a recap, for all those new listeners, but it's also helpful, because it's been a week, and JV says it all the time. His long-term memory is pretty shoddy at this point, and
short-term memory.
Yeah, short-term memory. And same with me, because I'm like, what did we talk about last week? Oh, yeah, the bloodbath. So,
what is JV bad memory that he mentions every episode?
Yeah, I couldn't even get that right.
Long-term.
Long-term. No, short-term. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. All right, so, yeah, for all those people with short-term memory, here's a audio pre-video match package. I'm all fucking up all the words now. Let's just get to the damn clip, and we'll be back in 4 minutes.
You want to be the number one contender. You deserve to be the number one contender. Let's see what happens when you have to face your brother, Kane.
The Undertaker and Kane, and the winner's going to be the number one contender to the Rattlesnakes title. Hey, look at this. A distraction by Mankind. Yes, Tombstone. Will that be enough? He got him. 1, 2, 3. Kane wins.
The 7-foot monster is absolute.
With Kane now the number one contender, a deeper, darker, more confusing plot was aimed at the Rattlesnake.
Wait a minute. Those Druids. That's the setup. But could the Undertaker be coming out to make yet another challenge to Stone Cold? They place that casket right here at the edge of the ring. Wait a minute. Mankind's under the ring. Right in front of us. Mankind was under the ring all the time. And there's Kane. There's Kane. Kane in a casket. Kane and Mankind doing a number on Stone Cold. Look at this. They are pounding the life out of Stone Cold Steve Austin right here. This is the celebration, JR. Kane and Mankind. Austin's in the casket. Is Stone Cold's career dead buried? Is that what this means? Kane has been another champion before the King of the Ring.
1 week later, in the specter of the ominous Hell in a Cell, Austin unleashed his rage in pure 316 fashion.
Austin's got a steel chair. Right in the face, and now Austin's going for Kane. No, the Rattlesnake lost Kane. Let's get it on. Oh my God, Austin and Kane. My God, look at him get it.
Kane challenges you, Austin, to a match in which clearly the winner will be the man who draws first blood on his opponent.
What does he mean?
To Kane, I say this. I'll accept any kind of match you want to throw at Stone Cold Steve Austin. I do not win the title. I will set myself on fire. You can be the human campfire, and I'll sit around and watch you burn all day long. You'll do it. And if you start to go out, you can rest assured that old Stone Cold will be right there to throw another log on the fire.
A first blood match.
I've bled before. I ain't afraid to bleed again.
This Kane is
your destiny.
But when you put this son of a bitch on the line, it means your big dead ass belongs to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What? What the hell is that? Austin is covered. What is that?
This Sunday, the blood on you will be real.
He just said this Sunday the blood on you will be for real.
Welcome to your worst nightmare.
All right, so there you have it. Pretty cool pre-match package there. Basically, it just shows, Kane becomes the number one contender after defeating The Undertaker. Vince McMahon's going to set up Austin with an attack by Mankind and Kane during the black tie affair, where Austin gets put in a coffin. Austin and Taker defeat Kane and Mankind in the Hell in a Cell match. Kane promises to set himself on fire if he doesn't win the title. And that this is also going to be a first blood match at King of the Ring. First to bleed, loses. And just last week, at the end of Raw, was the bloodbath. And Kane mentions the blood on you will be for real this Sunday. And now that leads us to the match. This match begins at the 2-hour, 18-minute mark. And as I was saying before, this is the match that follows the Hell in a Cell. But, based on what I was saying before, it kind of just flows into it, and the crowd's still hot because you still get pretty much the same storyline going on. So it continues from that point of view. And now you got Steve Austin coming out. He has a bandage around his elbow. Talked about it last week, how he may have got a staph infection because of the bloodbath, or it could have been related to that. But either way, he ends up with staph infection. He's in the hospital for a few days, and he has this bandage just wrapped all around his elbow. And he's out there to kick some ass, regardless. So the action starts off very quick. Austin is going to jump on Kane with the Luthez press. Austin waits. He gets Kane a few times with the belt. He's going to whack him a few times with that belt. And then he's going to open up the turnbuckle. So basically what you have here is Steve Austin's trying to draw blood immediately.
Yeah. Which I like.
Yeah.
I like that he's trying to win the match right from the onset.
And I always love when they do it that way because it just seems more realistic. It's like, why am I going to fuck around for 20 minutes when I can just try to get it done in 20 seconds?
Yeah, and it shows Stone Cold means business, which he should, because Kane is, I think 7 feet tall, 325 pounds. Like, he's a legit monster. So Stone Cold knows, he's got to play the short game here.
Right. So Kane, to Kane's advantage, he's covered up. He has barely any skin exposed, so it's going to be tough for a referee to notice him bleeding. Especially a referee like Earl Hebner that's in the ring, who's bound to fuck up a couple times.
Yep.
We got Earl back. Earl's back, finally.
Welcome back, Earl.
I've been getting used to Mike Chioda as the main ref. Now Earl's back. So the cell begins to get lowered again. So that's another part of why I was saying it's like a continuation from the last match, because the cell's still hanging there, and it's still playing a role in this match. So it's coming down, it's being lowered. So you start to wonder who the hell's doing that. So Austin is getting screwed maybe again. Who's doing this? So it's another mystery you just have going on in the back of your mind while this is all happening. So the cell is lowered at 2 hours and 23-minute mark. And they're fighting outside the cell at that point in the aisle. And then they're going to gradually make their way under the cell. And at this point, Kane is going to get Austin underneath the cell. And he's going to have it where the cell is almost completely lowered. And he's trying to get the cage the cell to crush Austin's neck. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I
pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I like about the cage going down too is, Stone Cold's the cards are already stacked against him. He's fighting hurt with the staph infection. He looks vulnerable, and then putting the cage around it, it's definitely a disadvantage to him because it limits the area where he can kind of wrestle and attack from. He's now confined with a guy that's much bigger than him.
Right, and he's also, like I said, with Kane, his skin's not as exposed, so if he gets thrown into that cage a few times, it's going to be more visible on him than on Kane, a lot quicker. So the cage being down is another disadvantage to Austin because he can bleed easier. It's more likelihood of bleeding. So, yeah, pretty damn cool that they kept that in mind to bring that cage down.
Yeah, definitely.
But Austin actually does draw a little blood on his back, but JR harps on that for like 3 minutes. he's pointing out, he's not truly busted. The referee had made a point earlier in the free-for-all that this can't just be like a little nick or a little scratch. It has to be truly busted open. So the referee has to use some discretion with these small cuts.
Yep.
So good thing that they pointed that out. It just makes it seem legit and that they covered that base of, it can't just be any tiny blood. It has to be real gasher. So good call there. And good for JR to bring it up a bunch of times so people would hear it. Because things can be said in a match. He may say it, but then you're not always listening because of action going on. So he definitely points it out a few times for those ADD people that need to hear things a few times. The cell is going back up, so it's like back up and down. But Kane, at one point, is hanging in the entrance. He's just dangling as it's being lifted up. And he's stuck in the door entrance while it's rising back up. And then he comes down from it. But they end up fighting in the entrance area. So this is another main thing that Austin has done every pay-per-view for the last 3 or 4 pay-per-views is he brings the guy to the entrance set and they fight at the entrance set. They fight with the props around the entrance set.
Yep.
And you have at that point they cut away to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is sitting up in the owner's box of the Igloo and he's sitting with Sable. So we're starting to get this Sable McMahon thing going on.
Yeah, which we like.
Yeah. And this will carry on for a while. Even she leaves at one point, and then she comes back, I don't know, maybe 2001 to 2002, and she's still hanging around McMahon at that point. So I remember thinking back then, it was McMahon's banging Sable. Oh, well. Austin gets suplex on the entrance ramp when they're fucking around at the entrance area, and he's going to block a guardrail throw by Kane. And then they finally make their way back to the ring at 2 hours, 29 minutes. The cell is still halfway down at this point, and Austin is finally going to get to smash Kane's head on the exposed turnbuckle that he ripped open at the beginning of the match. So that came into play finally. And they end up back outside the ring. He's going to have a Irish whip into the guardrail, but Earl Hebner is standing in the way. So he gets knocked out. And Austin gets then thrown into the guardrail. And Kane's going to clothesline Austin from the top rope once they get back in the ring. I like that clothesline from Kane. He's been doing that lately, where he gets up to the top rope. And it doesn't look great, but it's good for a big guy.
No, I think for him it looks good. I think he does it pretty well.
He does it like he's squatting though. He doesn't really.
He does. He lifts
stretch
his knees
out.
up.
Yeah, he lifts his knees up and does it. Yeah,
which kind of fits his mannerisms, the way he strikes when he's standing up in the ring.
Yeah,
everything's kind of tight. He never stretches out, reaches to do anything. Even when he does his throat chop, which he kind of steals from the Undertaker.
Yeah,
it's it's not like a full extension. It's almost like a short uppercut.
Yeah, it is.
Jab with the fingers,
Yep.
So everything he does is kind of tight.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. It works for me.
That's the best way I could put it. Yeah.
Now, JR is going to make a comment about how if Austin loses the title without getting pinned, I shudder to think how he will react. I thought that was a great thing for JR to bring up to remind the crowd, if he does lose, he didn't get pinned. It was because he got busted open, or maybe it was an accident. Maybe somebody else caused it, which we'll get to. But JR is setting up the audience again for he might lose, but if he does, he didn't get pinned. So it's kind of covering him. He's not going to look weak. He's still going to look like the champ. He's still going to be badass, Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he loses the title. So good to point that out. Good storytelling. And with that said, Mankind's going to find his way out to the ring. He's coming down with the steel chair after Earl Hebner has taken that bump, which I don't think that really matters, is to wait for Earl Hebner to be out because it's no holds barred. So people could come down if they wanted to and hit him over the head because there's no rules. So I don't know. It's one of those little things where there's no rules, but they
kind of
do have rules
when they want to have rules. Yeah.
So basically, it's like it's no holds barred, but only Kane can cause the blood. Then it's not really no holds barred. Anyway, so Mankind does come out. He comes out with the chair, and this might sound like nothing right now if you hadn't watched the Hell in a Cell match right before, because if you just watched the Hell in a Cell match right before this match, you say, how the fuck is Mankind coming out here right now to be part of this? It's just crazy. This guy should be in a hospital. This guy should be home. He should be on it, like getting the hell out of there. And he's still coming out in the next match with a chair. Ridiculous.
He should have ice over. He should be in an ice bath.
I guess he was told, like, hey, you gotta go to the hospital, or as Vince McMahon likes to say, that you gotta go to the medical facility. And he's like, oh, I still got one more part tonight. I gotta do one more thing tonight. And he comes out and fucking does it.
Hard worker.
And then when we get to the Raws coming up, he's on the next 2 Raws doing shit. Like, what the fuck?
I know we're gonna cover it shortly, but yeah, he takes quite an ass kicking.
Yeah, so he gets out there and oh man. So at that point, the cell gets lowered. Austin's gonna hit Mankind with the stunner, and then he's gonna give the stunner to Kane. Kane's out. Mankind is down. Now the Undertaker comes out with a chair. You know, he didn't really go through hell in the Hell in a Cell. He kind of put Mankind through hell in the Hell in a Cell. Yeah, he goes to whack Mankind, and as Austin is about to hit Mankind from behind, they slam their chairs into each other once Mankind ducks, and that kind of connects with Austin's chair, which kind of ricochets back to Austin's head, and that causes him to get knocked down, and you can see Austin cutting himself at that point.
Yeah, it's so clear.
Yeah,
it's so obvious.
So at 2 hours 34 minutes, Austin is down, and he's like holding his face down in the mat. That's where he's cutting himself, and they're using Mankind and Undertaker as a distraction at that point for the audience, and they even cut the cameras just seconds after you see Austin laying down. They cut to Mankind and Undertaker as the distraction for Austin to get that blade job done. So now, next time we see Austin, he's busted open, and Undertaker tosses Hebner back into the ring. People are kind of confused with that. What the hell's going on? Why is Undertaker tossing Hebner in the ring? And then Undertaker even gets gasoline. He pours it on Hebner, which I guess to wake him up. You think he's like going to set him on fire? He's like, why do you want to set the ref on fire?
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought right away.
Right.
Like, whoa.
But I guess it was the only thing that he could use to kind of wake up Earl Hebner. So at that point, Kane's going to whack the Undertaker with the steel chair. He ends up falling out of the ring. Then Austin's going to whack the hell out of Kane as Hebner comes to, but Hebner is going to notice Austin is busted open, and he calls for the bell. That's at 2 hours, 35 minutes, 45 seconds. Fucking Earl Hebner has to come back and take the title away from Austin in some bullshit. So the winner of this bout and the new World Wrestling Federation champion is Kane. So the run of Stone Cold Steve Austin's championship is over at this point. So from March to June, just near 3 months, was his first title reign. But stay tuned. It's more like a speed bump. That's it.
Yeah. I think even a speed bump's a little
generous.
Small enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you can see at the end of the show, Vince McMahon is pleased. He finally got somebody to take it away from him. His plan has worked, and Stone Cold is no longer the champion. What do you got for the skull rating on this match?
I gave it 3 skulls.
So did I. 3 skulls.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was all right.
I don't know. Could have been a little bit better, but
yeah, it's okay. It just relies heavily on the storyline. That's what makes it interesting.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not like in-ring action, and also, other than the storyline, it also involves other people. So it's not really just Stone Cold and his opponent, which I consider to be a major factor in the skull ratings. Now, even though the Over the Edge match with Mankind and Stone Cold, we gave 4.5 or 4 stars. That involved a shit ton of people like the Stooges and McMahon, but that's an exception, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It was better chemistry, I guess.
Yeah,
Better way to put it.
and there's a lot more action between Austin and Mankind on like the same kind of level. Whereas with Kane, he's limited. Big guy, small guy type shit. It's a little different. So 3 skulls. Not a bad match, enjoyable match. Definitely if you continue it right after you watch Hell in a Cell. So next time you watch Hell in a Cell because you want to watch Hell in a Cell, don't stop it after that. Just keep watching it because it really is like a double main event and the matches go together. So check it out that way next time. All right. Anything you want to add before we move on to some pay-per-view side notes?
Well, just the there's a great look of shock on Stone Cold's bloody face.
Yeah,
I think that's like a great shot that doesn't, it's probably should be a little bit more iconic than it is. You don't see it as often because you usually see the bloody shot of him in the sharpshooter.
Right.
But that's a good one too.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's past few weeks.
The tension and the anxiety, as you're watching to see when the ref's actually going to notice that Stone Cold's bleeding is a fantastic build. Like,
right.
Just that is, it works. They don't just like flip to it right away. There's a little bit of theatrics that plays out.
Right, you're almost hoping that the ref didn't notice it. But,
Yes. Yep. Even knowing the ending, I was like, no, but don't see it.
Yeah, but even still, like, how's the referee ever going to see Kane bleeding with a damn mask? That's such an unfair advantage.
Yep.
It's kind of like the same unfair advantage
stacked against them.
Right. I feel like it's the same thing that Austin used to say about the match with Bret Hart WrestleMania 13. It's a submission match. I don't have about one damn submission. How am I supposed to win a submission match? Well, how am I supposed to win a first blood match when my opponent has a mask on?
Yeah.
So, same kind of thing.
Mask, shirt, long
sleeves where he never wore long sleeves before.
Yeah, boots, like
long hair.
He's got a staph infection. Just the staph infection actually played well into the story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the side notes. Let's just go right to the Hell in a Cell match. So let's just like do this prequel style and go back to earlier in the show.
Rewind.
Yeah, rewind here. Go back to the Hell in a Cell match, and we plan to do that double feature, right? The watch along.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we're gonna we'll be recording Friday and then
release it Saturday.
Release it Saturday. Yeah.
All right. So
I didn't. Just a heads up, I didn't watch much of this match, knowing that we're gonna do it Friday, and I didn't want to ruin it.
Oh, cool.
Because I haven't seen this match in so long. So when we do it live, I wanted my reactions to be fresh, like as fresh as they can be.
All right.
As far as like not having seen it in so long, the match.
All right. So with that said, I'm not going to really get into much detail on this match right now. Those of you out there, many of you have probably watched it. If you haven't, go watch it. We're going to watch along. You can watch along with us this Saturday. We're going to do it exactly how we kind of explained it earlier, that we're going to do this as one big double main event. We're going to do the Hell in a Cell, and we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep watching into the first blood match and do it all as one big jumbo match because it kind of does tell a story between both matches. So tune in for our double creature feature this Saturday. Watch along, special edition. It's going to be a hell of a watch along. Or a hell of a watch along.
That's more like it.
As Vince McMahon would say. All right, so Mankind versus Undertaker, hell of a match, and we'll get into more depth in the watch along. That gives you more incentive to just take a look at that. So, basically, Undertaker kicks the shit out of Mankind, but what a doozy. All right. So some of the other things that happened on the King of the Ring pay-per-view, just kind of run through the card, is you got the Headbangers, and Taka defeated Kane. You had Jerry Lawler's special ref for Al Snow and Head versus Too Much, Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. And we kind of talked about this last week, and JV said, we don't need to talk about that ever again. But just a reminder, Brian Christopher pins Head for the win, but you can't pin somebody without shoulders, so they attached a bottle of Head and Shoulders to Head so that he would have shoulders so that they could get the 3 count. And then JR says at the end, "We will get more serious here momentarily, I promise."
Oh, he hates it. At this point, to me, Al Snow, even back then, like Al Snow was cool when he first showed up, and then he just became annoying.
Yeah, he definitely becomes annoying.
I wasn't a big Al Snow guy. Probably at this point, I was probably like, this fucking guy again.
Just keeps coming out with his head.
Yeah, it was fucking mannequin head.
And the crowd just loves it because they get to say Head. A bunch of people that never got Head before want Head.
What
do we all want? Head!
At that point, they make sure they turn, look at their girlfriend like,
yeah, right?
Screaming it.
At that point, I don't think many girlfriends were even going to wrestling with their boyfriends back then.
No, probably not.
It's like a new thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because being nerdy was not really cool back then as it is today.
Oh, no, now it's acceptable. It's cool.
Yeah.
You can wear a backpack to school.
Yeah.
Like back in our day, you couldn't even wear a backpack to school. You were looked at as like, what are you doing trying to learn? Bring books to school in your backpack.
And if you did have a backpack, you better have it on one arm. Or you let's hold it by the strap at the top. Let it drag on the floor because you don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, and if you had to run from the gangs as a kid, you couldn't have the backpack on because it was too much weight.
Right. Then your last defense was to just throw your backpack at the kid.
At them, yeah. It's Nerd Defense 101. Make sure your shoes are tied.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really just hold the backpack with one arm to be cool. It was just easier to turn around, and like you said, swing it and throw it. Use it as a weapon. Do a podcast on Nerd 101.
Nerd 101.
Nerd Fighting 101. Nerd Defense.
Oh, man. All right,
Not that we would like nerdy like that at all, but
no.
Still funny.
Yeah. So later in the night, you got X-Pac defeating Owen Hart. Pretty cool match. 2 good workers there. You had later New Age Outlaws defeat Midnight Express, blah. But the only thing notable, which is not even that notable, is that Billy and Bart face each other for the first time on a pay-per-view. Whoopity-doo, I guess. But there was one thing that happened in the match that Jim Cornette has talked about on his show, and one thing that he points out about how China was just kind of fucking clueless sometimes is that China took forever to get in position to give a nut shot to Cornette. So Cornette's just standing in the ring, pointing at, I think it was Billy Gunn. And, Billy Gunn is like supposed to try to like punch him, but he's even waiting for China to get there. And Cornette's like standing there just longer than necessary. Then she finally notices, she runs around the ring and gets in and does the nut shot. So totally botched that. So that was a funny story that he told on his show about that. So I wanted to point that out. But then we get into the King of the Ring tournament, which I talked about my distaste for it last week and how I don't like how they jump right to the semifinals on the pay-per-view. But, the reason why, I guess, is because they're doing a lot more different types of matches, to deal with all the different feuds they had going on. Whereas before, the old King of the Rings was just strictly the tournament and maybe like a tag team match and then the championship match, something like that.
Yep.
But now you get so many different types of matches going on other than the tournament. So that's why they have a new format. So in the semifinals, you had Double J versus Shamrock. Shamrock's going to advance pretty easy. But the one funny thing I noticed in the sign was a Double J ain't he gay sign. And Jerry Lawler even mentions it. And then you have The Rock versus Dan Severn. And another sign that I noticed, like right on the main camera as Dan Severn's coming out, just says "fuck you" on it.
Hey, what am I going to write on this sign? Oh,
fuck you. So in that match, Godfather and Mark Henry are going to distract the ref. D'Lo gives a frog splash to Severn, and he's wearing like a Rawlings chest protector, like a legit baseball chest protector.
Yeah, but they try to play it off like it's got like
studs on it.
in it or something.
Yeah.
It's
got like little tiny shiny things all around the side of it, so it kind of looks like a special thing. But it really is
like
just
cheap sheet metal.
a Raw, and it even says Rawlings on the back of it, on his straps behind.
Does it? I didn't get that. That's hilarious.
So The Rock advances to the finals. You get Shamrock versus Severn. and which was cool because no, that didn't happen. That would have been cool. I mean, is that
I hear you.
You could have had Shamrock versus Severin, but I guess it made sense to not have them as the king of the ring. You know, the kings of the Octagon.
Cool.
Yeah, it could have been cool. So that got me to thinking, like, right. Yeah, but I'm surprised it didn't happen. But that got me to thinking, well, what was their other fights that they had? So I looked back, and they've had two fights against each other at UFC. At UFC 6, which was July 95, Shamrock wins in 1 round with a submission. And then at UFC 9, it was like a split decision, and it was considered to be one of the worst fights ever. Apparently, it was just 20 minutes of circling each other, and there wasn't much contact at all. And I guess that had to do with John McCain made a huge fuss about this brutal spectacle. And then the commission in Detroit were going to cancel the show, but they allowed the show to go on with the modified rules that there would be no close fist punches. And
so stupid.
Right. And I guess the undercard got away with it. They didn't follow the rules at all. But because of Severin versus Shamrock being the main event, they played it safe and they followed the rules, and the match sucked because of it. And that was their last match. So Shamrock advances and goes on versus The Rock. So Shamrock versus The Rock. And Triple H is on commentary because he was the previous king of the ring. And he's going to spit water in The Rock's face at ringside. Shamrock's going to win by submission. The Rock taps out with ankle lock. And there's like no big deal made out of this at all. There's no ceremony. There's no nothing. It's just...
Might have thought they had like a grudge. It was just like a grudge match.
Right. And they've already had a bunch of matches too. Already. Yep. So it's kind of just like, oh, Ken Shamrock won. But one thing I did look up about this is that Ken Shamrock is the first babyface to win the tournament in 5 years. So he's the last one since Bret Hart. Bret Hart was the first pay-per-view king of the ring. So there's been 14 tournaments since 1993, since Bret Hart. And there's only been 3 babyfaces to ever win King of the Ring. That's Bret Hart in 93, then Shamrock in 98, and then Edge in 2001. Every other time it's been a heel. That's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that. But it makes most sense that you would have a heel pretend to be king, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good way for a heel to get a major push rather than a babyface. So there you have it.
Likes the king.
Ken Shamrock. King Shamrock. And we'll get into it in the next couple of episodes of Raw and the side notes. They do start to kind of push the whole idea that Ken Shamrock is the king of the ring because they're going to bring back the past kings, which was all right. All right, so
I thought it was.
Yeah. So that concludes the King of the Ring, and now brings us to the night after the King of the Ring. This is Raw 266 from June 29th, 1998, Cleveland, Ohio. And it starts off with Vince McMahon, who is extremely happy about what happened the night before with Kane winning the championship. And he's going to present the championship to Kane. So take a listen to Vince McMahon in all his glory.
I'm sure he wishes he could be here tonight for what I'm sure is a momentous occasion for the owner of the WWF.
Hey, check out the red carpet on the ring. What a night this is, JR.
Some of the media are calling him Mr.
It gives me great pride to stand before you tonight. Oh, what a happy day.
Yeah, some of the media are calling him Mr. McMahon Man.
Huh? We have a new WWF champion.
Finally!
Let me repeat that. We have a new WWF champion.
Do you hear that, JR?
These fans got 2 words for the owner.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Today marks the dawning of a new era here in the WWF.
Look at the belt on
a new era of popularity and prosperity. A new era of respect and dignity and even civility. Why, it's as if a giant breath of fresh air has cleansed the WWF.
Yes.
Cleansed the WWF of the foul mouth. Cleansed the WWF of the unseemly hand gesture.
Right.
And cleansed the World Wrestling Federation from the beer swilling.
Well, Austin is here and he's listening, folks.
Yes, we have a new champion. A champion who is a man among men. A champion whose lips have never so much as tasted an alcoholic beverage.
Just like me. Yeah, if we can just get these people to shut up. Maybe we need new fans, too.
A champion who's never uttered the first obscenity in his entire life. And a champion, ladies and gentlemen, whose only hand gesture is to salute the flag of the United States of America.
All right.
I give you a role model. I give you a champion for the new millennium. I give you the World Wrestling Federation champion. I give you Kane.
The King of the Ring to become the WWF champion in that first ever first blood matchup. And yes, it was mired in controversy. It was Kane's brother, the Undertaker, not Kane, who drew first blood on Stone Cold Steve Austin. But yet Kane is still the WWF champion.
That's right. We had a situation where we were either going to see that man become the WWF title holder, or we were going to see him set himself on fire last night. And he walked out victorious. He overcame all the odds, JR. Here's a man who was willing to put it all on the line to risk his actual life for what he believed in, to be better than his brothers. And now he's starting that long road to prove to the world that he will be a better WWF champion than The Undertaker or Steve Austin ever was.
This is an uncivil war, to say the least.
All right, so McMahon comes down. Oh, what a happy day. And you have red carpet covering the mat. You have the championship is in a glass case. So it's going to be presented to the new WWF champion. He says, we have a new WWF champion. Today marks the dawning of a new era of respect, dignity, and civility. The WWF has been cleansed of the foul mouth, hand gestures, and the beer swilling.
Cleansed.
Cleansed, yeah. And we have a champion who's never tasted alcohol. A champion who has never used a curse word. Whose only hand gesture is to salute the American flag. I give you a role model. I give you World Wrestling Federation champion. I give you Kane. Then Kane comes down, coming down with Paul Bearer. You have Briscoe, Sergeant Slaughter. Pat Patterson's not there, but you got the Stooges. And even Sergeant Slaughter has a mic in his hand for whatever reason. And now we got to get Paul Bearer on the mic and talking about Kane as the champion and Kane's aspirations as a child. So take a listen to Paul Bearer now for a couple minutes. We'll talk about him after that.
I'm sure that words cannot express how you truly feel, but if you would be so kind as to attempt to put in words what your heart is feeling at this moment.
The World Wrestling Federation!
What a proud papa.
Indeed! A place where dreams can come true! There's no way that anyone can understand what this momentous occasion means to my son and myself this evening. Until you have walked a mile in my son's shoes, there's no way you can possibly realize it. I was there, Mr. McMahon. I was there for 20 long years. I watched my son, this man, your champion. I watched him dream. I watched him sit in a room with pictures of his brother, The Undertaker, all around.
I watched him on Saturday mornings, watch WWF Superstars. He would say, Dad, I want to be like him. But I said, Kane, you can be better than him. It's not wrong to dream. He was harassed. He was ridiculed. He was put down. But tonight, oh yes, tonight, Undertaker, for the first time, you are standing in the shadow of your little brother.
Wow. Without further ado, Mr. Briscoe, we will now present officially the World Wrestling Federation Championship to its rightful owner, Kane.
What a prestigious ceremony. Reeks of conspiracy. What? Where's Ken the Star when you need him? This is real class.
Kane, it gives me a great deal of honor to place this championship belt around your waist voluntarily.
Remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin won the championship? He forced Mr. McMahon to put the WWF title. Oh my!
All right, so there you had Paul Bearer mentioning that the WWF is a place where dreams come true. And when he says that, Vince McMahon gets a big smile on his face. Like, yes, this is a place where dreams come true. And Paul Bearer says, I used to watch him, as in Kane, on Saturday mornings. He would watch WWF Superstars. And he'd watch his brother, and he would say, I want to be like him. And I'd say, you be better than him. And I just thought it was cool because, it reminded me of watching, Superstars Saturday mornings. And I'm thinking, Kane is not that young. Kane is not watching Superstars on Saturday mornings. Maybe he's like a 20-something-year-old.
I thought the same freaking thing. I'm like, how much of an age difference were they? Like, this guy's like... It's funny. I picture him as like a little kid in like his Kane outfit with a mask on.
Yeah. Sitting down cross-legged watching Superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he's watching Superstars, it's not like he's watching Superstars like 87, 88, 89. Maybe that works.
Like 93.
Right, he'd have to be watching...
like 70s.
Well, if he's watching The Undertaker, which is what Paul Bearer is saying, then that means that he was sitting as a little kid watching The Undertaker in 1991, 92 on Superstars. Because that's when The Undertaker first came in. He came in November of 90. So
it's only 7 years ago.
Right. So 7 years before this. So, say Kane is, at the youngest, 21, then he would have been 14.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah. So he's not a little kid watching it. And he wasn't 21. How old was Glenn Jacobs? Let's find out. Glenn Jacobs' age.
How old was he then?
All right, so he's born 1967. So if he's watching in 91, he's already in his 20s. So he would have been 24 years old. Young little Kane, 24-year-old Kane, sitting there watching Superstars. He wants to be like his brother.
Baby Huey, man-child.
Yeah, he does say he was a kid, right? Because maybe we were just thinking all wrong about this.
No, I'm pretty sure he says kid. I'm like, what the hell else would he mean? He definitely made it sound like he was a little kid.
Right.
Either he said kid or there was some type of,
it just
point made that.
Right. Just makes you think that he was a kid watching on Saturday mornings, watching Superstars. 24-year-old Kane sitting there cross-legged watching Undertaker.
On the side of his dad, Paul Bearer.
And now,
who was fucking managing him at the time.
Now, let me think. Let's see this. All right, Undertaker. All right, 3 years older than Kane. So 3 years older. Yeah. Yeah, they make it seem like there's this huge gap, too. Like, Undertaker's much older. It's just 3 years. All right, so you have that. The championship gets presented to Kane. The crowd's been chanting Austin the entire time. And just as McMahon's about to put the belt around Kane's waist, Austin's music hits. and Austin's going to come out and point out his distaste for all this bullshit. So let's take a listen to what Austin had to say, and then we'll talk about what he had to say right after that.
Oh, business is picking up. It is picking up right here on Raw. We're live in Cleveland. How dare he come out here now? This is the crowning of a new champion. You got no business out here. He's not supposed to be here. Look at this. The red carpet treatment. Not for Austin. Oh, he's got the mind. There's no telling what he's going to say here or what he's going to do. Austin wants that title back, and he'll walk through hell barefooted to get it.
I'm going to make this short and sweet because there's really not a whole lot to talk about. You know as well as I know the stipulations in the match. The man who drew first blood on his opponent would be the winner. You know, I know, the whole damn world knows that big son of a bitch never busted me open.
Listen to that. That's the truth. That's the truth. What kind of champion would he be?
Did I get busted open? You're damn right, but it was the Undertaker that did it. So the reason I'm out here, shut up. The reason I'm out here, I'll knock your damn head off just for wearing those stupid shoes.
Oh.
The reason, look at me when I'm talking to you. The reason I'm out here is because I want a rematch with Kane right here tonight.
What? What? Why not? Is he crazy? Let's get it on tonight. Oh, no
And all
way.
you gotta do is say, yes, Steve, you got the rematch. That's all you gotta say, so say it.
Well, there's no doubt, Mr. Austin, that everyone would like to see, I'm sure, that rematch.
Well, hell yeah. He deserves it. He never even got pinned last night.
Well, if everybody'd like to see it, say I got the damn rematch, jackass. Say something. Get that stupid look off your face and be somebody.
Boy, this is too much.
You're supposed to be the owner of the WWF. Act like it for once.
Well, maybe you don't deserve a rematch tonight.
That's right. He don't deserve nothing. I don't know how you figure that.
Well, hell, I'll cover that. If you want a rematch, give me a hell yeah.
What do they know?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. It's fine with me. It's fine with me as long as it's all right with Paul Bearer.
There you go. Look at the look on Paul Bearer's face. He said, what the? Well, say no.
Well, what about it, fat ass?
Oh.
Take the damn microphone and tell me I got the rematch. Take the damn microphone and say, yeah, Kane will fight you tonight. That's all you gotta say.
He's reluctant.
Son! You tell him, son. I'm telling you right now, take the microphone and say, yes, Kane will fight you tonight. Spit out the cupcake and start talking.
That ain't funny. It's kind of funny. What a caucus that is.
It's all right with me if it's okay with Kane.
Well, somebody say no.
I dare somebody in this ring to have some guts. Will you give me the rematch tonight? I sat back there and listened to you spew out a bunch of garbage about for how 20 years you wanted to be like your big brother. Finally now, you're not in the shadow of the Undertaker, but now you're bigger than the Undertaker, and the Undertaker's down here. And I look at you, and you're 7 feet tall, you weigh over 300 pounds, And The Undertaker, anytime he won that belt, he actually did that. He won the damn belt. Well, what he did last night was win the belt again and then hand it to your sorry ass.
Uh-oh. Damn business is about to pick up.
You've got to ask yourself, could I have beaten Stone Cold Steve Austin fair and square?
That's a yes.
Shut up. If you don't give me the rematch, you'll never know. And how are you going to go through life saying, oh, I was the WWF champion, but my big brother won the damn belt and then handed it to me. So what I'm asking you, what I'm asking you for the last time, will you give me the rematch tonight?
What? Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! It's on! The WWF title's on! The win is living! Paul Bearer is living! Austin gets a rematch! He gets it tonight! It's gonna be live! All live! In more ways than one! Here in Cleveland! Stone Cold!
All right, so right from the jump there, when Austin comes out, he's going to point out that Kane did not bust him open. You know, it was the chair shot from the Undertaker that caused it. And Austin's going to tell McMahon right away. And this is funny because they do cut to Vince McMahon in his outfit when he first comes out. They show his shoes, his wingtip shoes. So Austin tells McMahon, I'll knock your damn head off just for wearing those stupid shoes. Look at me when I'm talking here. And again, that goes back to things that we've said about Austin all along, is that he tries to find the one thing that you think you're being cool about. Like, McMahon probably seemed like wicked happy about those shoes and thought he looked good. And then Austin just points it out like, I'll knock your damn head off just for wearing those stupid shoes.
And for the record, I actually like those shoes.
No, I like them too, but...
They're dapper.
But I can imagine Steve Austin getting ready to go out there for this, and he's looking on a monitor, and they zoom in on his shoes. You know, on his feet stepping into the ring. So he probably just thought of it right there on the spot. Like, I'm going to say something about those shoes.
Look at this asshole in his shitty shoes. I'm going to use that, basically.
Right. So Austin wants a rematch. He says he wants a rematch with Kane tonight. And then he's asking him, say I got the damn rematch, jackass. Say something. Get that stupid look off your face. Say something. Say something. Be somebody. JR points out that Austin was never pinned, which he kind of mentioned last night on the pay-per-view, is that Austin wasn't pinned, so he kind of deserves a rematch. He was not a losing champ. It's just kind of circumstances that he doesn't have the title anymore.
Yep.
So, maybe you don't deserve a rematch tonight, is what McMahon tells him. So Austin says, I'll clear that up right now. Do I deserve a rematch? Hell yeah, you get from the crowd. And then McMahon kind of passes the buck to Paul Bearer. He says, it's fine with me, as long as it's fine with Paul Bearer. And then Paul Bearer looks like he's going to shit his pants when that happens, because now he has to make the choice for Kane. So he's shaking in his boots about that. And then Austin said, oh, well, what about it, fat ass? Spit out the cupcake. Stop talking. They say, it's all right with me, if it's all right with Kane. And then Austin, I like this part with Austin. He's getting into Kane. He's like trying to rile him up a little bit, get some emotion out of him. He said, yeah, the Undertaker, your brother, he won the title before. He actually did that. On the last night, he did it again. And then he gave it to your sorry ass. This is like, Kane, you didn't even win the title. Your brother did it for you again. Your big brother that you look up to, you want to be a world champion like him. Well, he did it for you. So you can't
dating him now,
right? So you can't say that you beat Stone Cold Steve Austin fair and square by yourself, because if it wasn't for your brother, then I wouldn't have been bleeding. So Kane is getting kind of pissed off, and he's gonna accept the rematch. Basically, what it comes down to is, hey, you gonna give me the rematch? You gonna give me the rematch? And Kane nods his head yes, and McMahon is just furious about it.
Heated.
Right. It's like, you fucking dumbass. Why are you going to give him a title shot? You got the championship. Just say no. So he gives him the title shot. I mean, also, Vince McMahon could just said no. Like, no, you're not getting a rematch. You have to have this match before you have that. Something. He could have said something.
He kind of pulls that. We're going to cover it in the next episode of Raw. But he does something similar, if I'm not mistaken, in the next episode, but reverse to Austin.
Right. Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yep. Where he's like, no, you can't just pick who you want to fight. I pick your opponents,
Right. Well, it's pretty much.
He doesn't do that here.
Right. And that's more likely a reaction to what happened this week. Like, I can't just let that happen again. So now I need to bust balls. Yeah. And I need to try to prevent that next time. Because you do see a totally different Vince McMahon in this episode than in the next episode of Raw that we'll get to in a few minutes. Yep. All right, so you have Kane now getting interviewed by Kevin Kelly at the 42-minute mark. And basically it's just Kane says he knows he can defeat Stone Cold because he's a greater champion than his brother ever was. And Kane's like choking hard-hitting Kevin Kelly while he's doing that. And Paul Bearer's like freaking out. Why'd you have to do that? Why'd you have to ask him that? He's choking him out. Then you get an Austin interview just about 8 minutes later on the show at the 50-minute mark. And Austin feels like he didn't lose the title because the Undertaker hit him with the chair, causing the blood. And then he's going to kick Michael Cole out of the dressing room. More Michael Cole abuse. And then we get Undertaker. So now they're going to interview the Undertaker in the ring. And we're going to play that for you. It's at the 1 hour, 4 minute mark of the episode. But take a listen to the Undertaker with Michael Cole.
Undertaker. Undertaker, many people believe that you owe them an explanation. Why did you interfere in the championship matchup last night between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kane?
First off, I owe no one anything.
Whoa.
But I will tell you why it is I came to the ring last night. Now, it's common knowledge that me and my brother Kane, well, there is no love lost there. And that's mainly because of the mind manipulation of Paul Bearer. And the day may come where Kane and I may have to destroy each other. So be it. But I was not gonna sit back and watch my little brother set himself on fire because he wants to live up to the legend of the Undertaker. He wants to be everything I am. He wants to be better. So I did what I did.
With that said, by preventing your brother from setting himself on fire, you may have cost Stone Cold Steve Austin the WWF Championship.
May? Oh,
yeah. I did what I had to do.
Wait a minute.
Let me get this straight.
Whoa. Well.
Let me get this straight. You did what you had to do. All right, what you're trying to say is you're a compassionate human being. That's what you're trying to say. You have compassion for your brother. You didn't want to see your brother burn himself up. Let me tell you why you did what you did. You did it because you think you can beat your brother Kane for the title. And let me tell you another reason why you helped Kane become the WWF champion. Because you don't think you can beat Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Whoa. Strong.
You are singularly the most vile, contemptible, and evil individual that the devil ever placed on this earth.
He tells it like it is, JR.
And let me warn you, hell hath no fury than what you will find if you interfere in that WWF Championship match tonight. That's a warning. Heed it.
Man, those are strong words. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Well, there goes the Undertaker. He may be going to confront Mr. McMahon. Austin and Kane, WWF title, still to come here tonight.
All right, so Michael Cole's going to ask the question, why did you interfere in the match between Stone Cold and Kane? Taker says he had to do what he had to do. And I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do, was kind of what he's saying. So McMahon comes out and interrupts him, says, you say you have compassion. You don't want to see your brother burn. You did it because you think you could beat your brother for the title. You don't think you could beat Stone Cold Steve Austin for the title. So we're getting like this web, this tangled web of things going on with Undertaker and Kane and Stone Cold, eventually even Mankind. It's still carrying over from the King of the Ring, of course. But now you're getting this kind of like plot where you don't know who is in charge, like who's orchestrating all this, who's the puppet master. Is it McMahon? Is it the Undertaker? Is it Paul Bearer? Is Paul Bearer working with Undertaker like he says? All these people lying. There has to be some truth within it, So what the hell's going on? So it's pretty cool. I'd say it's pretty deep storytelling at this point, because it does lead to something. It does make sense when we get to it. So it's not like they're just flying by the seat of their pants making shit up. It actually does lead to a story that makes sense over the course of the summer.
Yep, for sure.
So really cool.
And it just goes to a better grasp on how to
write a story,
writing team and everything. Yeah, to just make it writing engaging story that
goes over the course of
a couple
months.
It's like a real fucking story, because what they do know aren't stories; they're more like skits.
Right. And whatever skit is hot, they just they roll with.
Play it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. They beat the fucking shit out of it.
Right, that too. All right, so now this brings us to the world. Actually, wait, no, I didn't finish that last part. So yeah, he's Undertaker saying that he did what he had to do, and McMahon comes out there and says you can't beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. So McMahon warns the Undertaker, make sure you don't interfere in this championship match coming up. And Undertaker later says, nobody tells me what to do. So you have that going on. So now you get to the World Championship match, which is at the end of Raw. It's the 1 hour, 21-minute mark, and it's going to go until about the show close. So you got Kane and the World Wrestling Federation champion, Kane, versus the challenger, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this match is going to start off hot just like the night before, with Austin on offense with a series of punches. Kane's going to counter, goes back and forth for a bit. Crowd is super excited for this match. They've been waiting for Austin. Anytime Austin's involved in anything on Raw, the crowd's nuts at this time. So he's got a match, he's got a title shot, so it makes a hell of a lot of sense that they're loving Austin at this point. And the crowd was pissed off earlier in the night, and we'll get to that in the side notes, because they had to go through a couple shitty-ass brawl-for-all matches that they were just booing the hell out of the whole night.
Yep.
So they finally got Austin, and they got a championship match, so they're going nuts at this point. They got what they came here to see. So Austin's going to attempt to stunner early on Kane. Kane's going to back up. He actually flips himself out of the ring, gets away from the stunner. And then Austin's going to go out into the apron, clothesline Kane. And he's going to slam him into the steel step. So you get some decent action going on here. And they get back in the ring. Austin is kicked out of the ring by Kane. Austin gets dropped on the guardrail. Now Undertaker is going to make his appearance. And he's going to show up even though he's warned by Vince McMahon not to be involved in this match.
Not to.
Right? Yep. And he's going to head right for Paul Bearer. But then Taker's just going to stand at ringside. So he kind of controls himself. He doesn't really get involved. He just kind of overlooks what's happening. Just standing beside. He wants to see the action. So Kane's going to clothesline Austin from the top rope. He uses that clothesline that we talked about earlier in the King of the Ring match. And then Kane's going to chokeslam Austin. And he attempts a tombstone, but Austin's going to get free. He goes for a stunner. He gets pushed back to the ropes, comes back with the kick to the gut, followed by the stunner. It seems like that happens often with Austin's stunner now in these big matches, is that they have to kind of deflect him the first time, and then he just immediately comes back with it.
But at least it finishes them.
Right, it does end them, right. He doesn't have to do it a bunch of times. Not like later when we get to WrestleMania 18 one day where he has to give the stunner twice to Scott Hall. First time he gives it
Yep.
to Scott Hall just stands there. And then he gives him another stunner. And then he like bounces up wicked high.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh man. But he gets a stun at the Kane.
Forgot about how high he bounces to. It's so ridiculous.
All right, so yeah, we got the stunner on the Kane. Austin's gonna get the 1-2-3. He's gonna regain the WWF Championship. So now we have Stone Cold Steve Austin as a 2-time World Wrestling Federation champion. Austin's gonna win clean, no bullshit involved, which is the good way to do it because if you want him to be the legit champion, last night he at King of the Ring he kind of lost it in a shitty way, but now he has it right back and he won it clean off of Kane, no interference. Undertaker was out there, but he didn't get involved. So, very cool. Austin is the legit champion once again. He just has that little 24-hour spat where he's not the champion. So, almost kind of not a thing. So, now the belt's back around him. And I give a skull rating to this match as another 3. I actually kind of enjoyed it as much as the first Blood match. First Blood match, like I said, has a different dynamic because it's following the Hell in a Cell, and it's kind of linked to that match. But this match on its own is a 3-skull match to me also. And it just shows more of how Kane and Austin can work together without a lot of outside influence going on. So 3 skulls. How about you?
I gave it 3.5. I actually liked it better than the previous night's match because this felt more like an actual wrestling match. I really enjoyed the clean finish.
Yep.
The crowd was hot, and I think because I also kind of watched a lot those Brawl for All matches, it felt like a much better payoff from reward having to suffer through that bullshit.
It's true.
And then you see a guy Stone Cold win the belt, so I think that kind of helped build everything up around the match and just put it, in my opinion, a little bit higher than the night before.
Yeah, I was kind of leading towards that too. I stuck with the same rating, but yeah, I did enjoy it a little, just a tiny bit more.
One thing that was funny is, did you see the wicked shitty sign in the crowd? It was like a blue sign, and it was Stone Cold. But he was like, it was like if Stone Cold had like an eating disorder. He's so like thin.
Oh, really?
He's got like this weird like oval shaped head. It's fucking such a bad art.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look back and take a look at it.
Not that I could draw better, but hey, man, that sign sucked. Period.
No one told you that sign sucked, kid.
Yeah, like come on, don't encourage that kind of behavior, parents.
All right, so just after that match, as the match ends, Undertaker gets in the ring, which is another part that I think just makes so much sense because the Undertaker gets in. Austin just won the championship, so it's like his celebration, and he just goes right up to Undertaker and stuns his ass. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's my moment here. What are you doing over here? And Austin's going to toss the belt over the rope. So he walks out. Undertaker and Kane both rise up at the same time. And once they do, Austin pegs them both off. And then we get a little extra attitude clip if you're watching on the network. And Undertaker and Kane go at it. Taker's going to chokeslam Kane. Undertaker's music hits. He's going to knock down Paul Bearer. Then he heads to the back. So that's how the show closed for the live audience. But now into some side notes, some shitty-ass side notes that I'm going to mention because, they're going to win my hell no moment. So got to talk about it. And it's the Brawl for All, or as JR announces, the Brawl for It All. And then on the graphic it says Brawl for All, so I guess JR said it properly at that point. But what we get is a shoot fighting. This is actual shoot fighting. It's not predetermined. That was the whole idea behind it, is that it's going to kind of be like UFC, and they're not going to know who the winners are. They're just going to get these guys that are going to give the clearance to be in these matches and just fight it out and see who really the tough guy is. Which is crazy when you're dealing, like, if you're involved in a business that is scripted, then what you can end up having is a lot of shit change because of this, and fuck up with storylines and a wrestler's character, and just totally ruin it because they maybe get knocked on their ass, or they just get their ass kicked, So this is kind of a risky thing. And also, on top of it, injuries. You can have wrestlers get injured for real and ruin their career because of this stupid shit. So anyway,
I wonder what the pitch were to these guys. Like, hey, You want to fight for real tonight, bro?
Yeah.
Some fucking gloves on. Go out there. It's this shitty point system we got. We got an old man in the ring. He's gonna make sure
Danny
shit goes well.
Hodge. Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
So you got 3-minute rounds. Like you said, a shitty point system where you get 5 points if you had the most punches. You get 5 points for a takedown. You get knockdowns, 10 points for a knockdown. But then a knockout ends the brawl.
It amazes me how bad some of these guys throw punches too.
Yeah, they're not used to it. They're not giving real punches.
It's like, dude, you're going in a real fight and you're like swinging like you've never thrown a real punch before. I don't know.
So the first one we get the pleasure of seeing is Mark Merrow versus Steve Blackman. And you'd think, like, Mark Merrow, they've been hyping up Mark Merrow as this boxer gimmick. Like, and he's this great boxer. He's a golden glove. But he just fucking loses. He doesn't do shit. So how great of a boxer can he be? And how's his gimmick go on from there? When
if I recall correctly, Steve Blackman actually takes him down a lot.
Yeah, over and over again.
And I think that's where, so like, I don't know, like the takedowns are probably easier than.
Yeah, takedowns are easier than getting the punches.
If you're a ground technician and you're fighting a guy that uses his hands, he kind of has the advantage there. Mark Merrow was probably like, what the fuck's this guy doing?
Yeah, stop going for my legs, asshole. So,
yeah, I thought we were punching each other.
So he loses rather easy. But the next on the next row is a pretty cool segment where Jacqueline kind of covers for him why he lost. We'll get to that in a little bit. Then the next Brawl for All match you have is Bradshaw, who you would think like he'd kick the shit out of anybody. He goes up against Mark Canterbury, Henry Godwin, who's now using his real name as a member of Southern Justice. And Bradshaw, nothing special to talk about, but Bradshaw wins. And two big motherfuckers in there, but Bradshaw's going to win it out there.
It's funny how, like, the JR makes the point, like, oh, it's Mark Canterbury.
Yeah.
Like, because he's using his real name to just kind of reinforce the reality of this stupid bullshit event called Brawl for All.
Right.
It's like, dude, his name was Henry Godwin. He might be one of the few wrestlers who has a shitty stage name, but has a worst real name.
Mark Canterbury.
Mark Canterbury.
Canterbury Tales.
Yeah. Jeez.
Right, so later in the night, we got a debut of Steven Regal, which I totally forgot about him being there in 1998. I thought it was a little later.
Me too.
Because I remember him just being William Regal. I didn't know he actually came in as Steven Regal. I know he was Steven Regal in WCW, but I always thought he was William Regal in WWF. It's totally just left my mind. I didn't remember this.
It's hot ass Sable to announce him too.
Yeah, Sable announces him to come out. Regal has a match with Puke, and Sable says that she can't comment on why she was in the owner's box with Mr. McMahon the night before. And I'm looking at Regal, I'm thinking, like, how old is this guy? I think they mentioned he's only 30 years old.
He looks like 46.
He always looks like he's 46.
Yeah, he does. He looks like 50 now.
Right. Yeah, it's like he didn't really age much, but he always looked old when he was in his 20s. So if he was 30 here, 1998, he was in WCW like 93, 94, 95.
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah, so he was just like in his early to mid-20s during that whole WCW run where he seemed so old still. I guess it's the English, proper gimmick type thing.
Yeah.
And it just makes him seem old.
Yeah, just enough body fat on them so they don't, they're not jacked, but they don't look completely like a piece of shit.
Right. All right, now we get into some of the Ken Shamrock stuff. Yeah, they didn't give him much pomp and circumstance the night before at King of the Ring, but they're going to make a note. They're going to make it noted that he is the King of the Ring. So Owen Hart's going to come up and interrupt Ken Shamrock, going to challenge him to a match to find out who the real king is. Because Owen Hart was, the King of Hearts back in 1994. Then Triple H is going to come out, and he was the King of the Ring last year, 1997. So if you're having a match to determine the King of Kings, not one of you can be considered the king until you step in the ring with me, and that's at 32 minutes. And I thought that was notable because we know where it goes from there. Eventually, Triple H is going to be called the King of Kings. So this leads me to thinking this is where it kind of begins, and that King of Kings means that he's the king of all the King of the Rings that have been. Maybe that's what he's claiming, as King of Kings. So you want to make this a three-way match, find out who the King of Kings is, and let's get it on. So you have this King of Kings match. Triple H versus Owen Hart versus Shamrock. Shamrock's going to win, of course, because that would be stupid if you had Ken Shamrock lose the King of Kings match after just winning the King of the Ring. But part of me was thinking, does Triple H win here, and that's why he's the King of Kings? Did he win this match?
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I guess that's not what actually happens. So, yeah, pretty notable thing there. You get the King of the Kings reference for the first time. And then you have a nice little segment that's going to build up to be pretty funny. So that's why I have it in here, because it is something that was memorable throughout this time that'll build up over the next month or so. And that's Val Venus and Kane. And Val Venus has a match with Dick Togo, which was funny enough for me to mention because you have Val Venus and Dick Togo. So anyway, you have the match, and Yamaguchi-san comes down. He has his wife. He has like this young-ass wife.
Yeah.
Like a 23-year-old at the time. I looked her up because at first I didn't think she was actually Asian. I was like, that chick's not Asian. She looks like a white girl with just like enough makeup on to make her eyes look like they're Asian.
Enough.
That doesn't sound right, but I didn't think she was Asian.
Hey, chicks do crazy things like that. I believe it. I've seen it.
Yeah. I even put in my notes before I looked it up. I said she's made to look like she's Asian, but I don't think she is. Yeah. She actually is.
It's like, it's like, psych, she is Asian.
I looked up recent pictures of it. She looks more Asian today than she did back then. But I guess it was just the makeup that made her not look as Asian.
Yeah, I'd say they probably did the reverse.
Right.
They like white faced her.
Well, they darkened her skin actually a little bit with the makeup. Yeah. So anyway, Val's going to go up to her later and try to entice her, and she gets hit on, like I said, by Val. He shows her the cock or whatever. He's like doing the little thrusting moves. And she's like looking down at him.
Gyration with the hips.
And you can tell like she's kind of into it, but she doesn't want to say anything. And Yamaguchi-san's getting upset and pissed. He slaps Val Venus. And then Val Venus is going to take a chair and he just whacks everybody in Kaientai. So that'll build up over the next few weeks. And it leads to Choppy Pee.
Yep.
Where they're going to castrate Val Venus. Which I thought came much later, but that's the crazy thing. Going back and watching all this is it seemed like it was not just happening at this point.
Yeah, a lot of events felt like there was more distance between them than I realized at the time.
And now it's just all coming quick. Maybe it's because we're cramming everything in like months, We're flying through the shit, so I guess that's part of it.
But still, it felt like that wasn't going to happen until like next year.
Right, yeah, like 99.
Clearly not the case.
Nope. All right, one thing I did want to point out, they had an advertisement for an event that they were going to have at Foxborough Stadium on August 8th. The WWF Foot Brawl was going to be on August 8th, and it never actually happened. I guess the ticket sales were too low that they kind of just they just did away with it. But they had like a hype show somewhere in Massachusetts. I don't know exactly where, but it was Austin and McMahon were there to hype the show and to sell tickets. And Austin threw McMahon into a lagoon. They actually aired that on some Saturday morning shows, but then they had never actually did this foot brawl, which the card came out. It was released and looked like it would be a pretty decent card. I think it's just like a big house show, kind of like they do today. It would be like something that would be on the network. It would be like a network special today. Yep. But at that time, it was not going to be a pay-per-view or anything like that. Just a big house show in Foxborough Stadium. That would have been cool.
Maybe that's why we're not going to get a WrestleMania. Maybe he's still butthurt that we didn't sell.
Probably.
We didn't buy his stupid event.
The Foot Brawl. This is like the predecessor to the XFL, too.
It's like, dude, we're like the hub for WWE. Basically, we're in their backyard.
Right.
Like, you think we're stupid? We know quality.
Right. Don't give us that shit. Give us a real show.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Trying to test us.
Give us Mike Tyson and try to give us this trash.
Yeah. And they came a little too early. They come in '98 to Foxborough. They just lost the Super Bowl to Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Still got Bledsoe as the quarterback. Patriots fans.
Fucking Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's still there. Pats fans aren't very happy yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fuck. We're never getting WrestleMania.
In Foxborough, at least. I mean, we'll probably never get one in Boston.
No,
again
it's
either.
too small.
The venue's too small.
Yeah. All right, so that pretty much concludes it. Other than just got Paul Ellering comes back and he turns on LOD and he joins the DOA. What would he do? I feel like the only reason why Paul Ellering joins the DOA is because he's bald and they're bald and he likes motorcycles too.
I thought the same thing. Like, this was so stupid.
All right, so now that brings us to the very next week of Raw, and it's actually the next day after the recording of this, and it's Raw 267, and it's coming from State College, Pennsylvania, and we covered a Raw from State College, Pennsylvania not too long ago, and we were like, is State College a real place? Or at least I was saying that. Is it the real place,
No,
or,
I
is,
remember
or
that.
is just the college campus? So I guess it is an actual town, but that's where the campus is. So they're at the place where Penn State plays basketball. The basketball team plays. And this is July 6th, 1998. And the show is going to kick off with Undertaker, Austin, and McMahon. And JR, right from the start, he's going to point out no one wants to take credit for this conspiracy that's going on. So they're starting to point that out, that there is this little kind of tangled web going on where you don't know what the Undertaker is really trying to do here, what McMahon is orchestrating. You have all these different storylines converging here. So JR points that out. No one wants to take credit for this. All right, so let's start this promo, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Austin, I want a title shot, and I want it right now.
Whoa, what a phenom, not wasting any words. The Undertaker wants Stone Cold. The Undertaker wants the WWF title on the line, and he seems that he's not willing to wait. Well, folks, I understand Michael Cole is up somewhere back in the locker room area. Michael?
Okay, we're going to try to find Stone Cold Steve Austin. See if he will accept the challenge made tonight by The Undertaker. Come on, guys. He's got to be down somewhere.
Well,
this is the locker room area back here, backstage.
Stone Cold Steve Austin all day.
Stone Cold.
I don't want to hang around with him anyway.
Nope.
Well, he's here somewhere. I saw him earlier. Uh-oh. We know the rattlesnake is in the house.
We're trying to find out if Stone Cold Steve Austin will accept the challenge made tonight
Undertaker's
by
not
The
leaving.
Undertaker. At some point, Stone Cold. See if the champ is. Whoa. Steve, did you hear the challenge? Will you accept the challenge from The Undertaker tonight?
I got no time to talk. You know, get the hell out of my way.
I mean, Steve.
What did he say, JR? He's coming out here.
Well, The Undertaker is looking at the Titantron as we are at this moment watching Stone Cold apparently head toward the arena here.
We're fixing to have a title shot right here on television.
Now, what a way to start off Raw if indeed Austin and The Undertaker hook it up right here.
Yes.
The Undertaker has demanded that Austin defend the title here. And The Undertaker doesn't want to wait. And maybe he doesn't have to. Stone Cold Steve Austin will never, ever back away from any challenge. Even a challenge as demonic, as evil, and as physical as The Undertaker.
The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin are fixing to get it on right here tonight. I love it.
An impromptu WWF title match unfolding before our very eyes here.
Wait just a minute. Wait just a minute. Wait just a damn minute.
Hold it. Mr. McMahon, the owner.
What's wrong with this picture? I'll tell you what's wrong with this picture. The inmates are attempting to run the asylum. That's what's wrong with this picture. Undertaker, who named you the #1 contender? Austin, who the hell do you think you are?
Whoa! Whoa!
You think you can come out here and defend the title whenever you want to against whomever challenges you? No. Let me remind you, you defend the title when I say you defend the title. You defend the title. You defend the title against an opponent of my choice, not yours.
He's right, JR.
However, since the two of you are so hell-bent to get it on, I'm inclined to allow that to happen.
Oh!
Yeah. As a matter of fact, at the next WWF pay-per-view entitled Fully Loaded, you can be in the same ring together and you can get it on, and you know what? I don't care if the two of you tear each other apart.
Boy, he's cold. He's smart.
Oh, but wait a minute. Make sure you don't misunderstand me. You see, I want you in the ring. You can get it on together, but you see, not the way you think. No. We could do this the easy way and let the two of you go at it as never before. Or we could do this the hard way, and whether you like it or not, you're gonna be in the ring together, all right, going at it, but as a tag team, whether you like it or not.
Man, well, that's a blockbuster right there.
At Fully Loaded, Austin, you and Undertaker will face the tag team of Kane and Mankind.
Oh, wow! And that'll be a war. These two guys gotta
And
be
by the way,
partners.
Undertaker, since you're so hell-bent and obsessed at being the WWF champion, then certainly you and every other WWF superstar who can hear my voice around the world will hang on every word that I say when I come to that ring tonight and step into that ring, that very ring you're in, and name the number one contender for the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
Wow, JR.
And Stone Cold, least anyone misunderstand how I feel from the bottom of my heart about you once again being the WWF champion. Allow me, Stone Cold, to salute you.
Salute? Look at that, what a class act. I told you, Vince. Oh, well, you look at that. Vince flipped him off. Oh, he did it again. He flipped off Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, what is McMahon thinking? Well, I'll tell you one thing. We got the scoop on Fully Loaded. Plus, we're going to find out who the number one contender is tonight.
All right, so Undertaker, he comes out. He's going to demand the title shot from Austin. That's pretty much why he was there last week when Austin won the belt.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything. He came in the ring kind of like the threaten Austin, like, all right, I'm next. And Austin's like, bullshit, stunner. So Undertaker's a little butthurt. He comes out. He wants his title shot. And Michael Cole, he's looking for Austin. And he's going through, every door. Every random door looking for Austin. Austin, you in there? Austin, you in there? And then finally Austin comes out of one. And he's got his Want to Raise Some Hell shirt that it's one of his older shirts, but he has it on. It's kind of fitting here because it's
the nice cool skull on the back.
And it's Want to Raise Hell. You got the Undertaker, so perfect shirt to be wearing. And they get in the ring and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have this match." Blah blah blah. Austin's not gonna turn away from a fight, so he's in there to get this match going. And McMahon comes out. Wait a minute. Wait, just a damn minute. Says what's wrong with this picture, and the inmates are attempting to run the asylum. That's what's wrong. Undertaker, who named you number one contender? Austin, who the hell do you think you are? You can't come out here and defend the title whenever you want. You defend the title when I say you defend the title. You defend the title of an opponent of my choice, not your choice. So McMahon is kind of getting a little ballsy at this point, and he's like you said earlier, JV. It's kind of like he's covering for how he was last week, where he lost the belt basically. Kane lost the belt because he didn't stand up to Austin. So now he's going to make sure, I'm going to stand up to this motherfucker now. And I'm not going to let him just pick his opponents. I'm going to be in control of that because I'm the boss. He's not the boss. So it's kind of like he's just been taking advantage too much. And now he's like, I'm going to be the boss now.
He's putting his foot down.
Yep. It's kind of like...
Because, hey, his fear is, inmates running the asylum.
Right. It's like if you have an unruly class, if you're a teacher, you just don't let the kids keep running it. You got to put your foot down.
Yep.
So that's what he's doing there. He's trying to get control of his class here. They're not going to make...
Respect my authority.
You guys don't choose when you have a test. I do. So McMahon's going to announce. He's like, he already has a match, too. He's like, bullshit, I already have a match planned for you guys, and it's not even going to be a title match at the next pay-per-view. So get that out of your mind. At the next pay-per-view, fully loaded, in your house, fully loaded, it's coming up in July, you two can be in the ring together. Yeah, you can tear each other apart. But we can do it the easy way. We can do it the hard way. One of McMahon's favorite things to say. The easy way or the hard way. The easy way is, I let you go at it like never before. Or we can do it the hard way, and you'll be a tag team, whether you like it or not. You will face a tag team of Mankind and Kane. We have Mankind and Kane versus Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin set for Fully Loaded. And Vince McMahon points out he will name a number one contender, but you're going to have to wait for it. You have to wait until later in the night. So Vince McMahon lets Austin know, as he did before in the past, and Austin was like, you don't like me as champion, do you? You don't like me as champion. And then he finally said, oh, hell no, or whatever. But this time he's making it a point. It's not a mystery anymore. This is how I feel about you as being champion. Salutes Austin and then turns his finger, does like the most proper middle finger, flicking off. It's like he's never done it before. It's like the first time you had to like practice doing it. It's like wicked tight. I'm doing it right now. Obviously you can't see it, but it's like you got the knuckles up all the way. Like it's not like the lazy way where you just pull the fingers back and you wrap it up with your thumb. He's got his thumb out. But yeah, he has a pretty awkward middle finger there. And it happens at the 10-minute mark. So definitely go back and check out that middle finger. Go check out a middle finger. Yes, it's that funny. Check it out. So we have this ballsy McMahon stepping up to Stone Cold now, which is a lot different than it's been in the past for those reasons that we said, where he's kind of fed up with the bullshit that Austin's been putting him through. Even though McMahon's been putting him through as much bullshit too lately. All right, so that's earlier on in the show, but later in the show, McMahon's going to come out and he's going to announce number one contender. So that's at the 49-minute mark, and we're going to play that for you now and talk about who's going to be the number one contender.
And this is tense, folks. I wish you could all be sitting here and feeling the tension, the emotion that we're experiencing right here tonight. Who is the number one contender?
Well, what an eclectic group. Which one of these competitors should be named the number one contender for the World Wrestling Federation Championship?
Who do you think, JR? Only one man Austin hasn't defeated.
Perhaps
that man right there.
Perhaps it should be Mankind.
Look at his lip.
And Mick, with what you did at Hell in a Cell, risking life and limb, I want you to know that I feel your pain.
That's genuine.
I feel your hurt.
I'm sure he means every word of it.
And I want to publicly thank you for everything you've ever done for all of us in the World Wrestling Federation.
You know, McMahon's presidential material.
But is it enough to be named number one contender?
Maybe the Kiwanis.
Kane. Last week, Kane, when I announced you as the new WWF champion, I said you were a role model. I said you were a champion from the new millennium. How could I have known that you are one of the stupidest men I've ever seen in my life?
Look out! My
be the
God.
champion?
Does
You want to be the number one contender?
Does McMahon man have a death wish?
Giving Stone Cold Steve Austin a title shot last week was nothing short of dumb.
That was dumb.
But that's all right. We forgive a lot of people for a lot of things around here. And I got to say that any man who would put in writing that you would set yourself on fire if you didn't win the championship, well, that's all right with me. Perhaps you should be named the number one contender.
We are about to find out who the number one contender is for Stone Cold's WWF title.
And you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you. I hope these people show some respect to these Nittany Lions.
You evil, diabolical excuse for a human being.
I wouldn't push it too far.
Why should you be named the number one contender? Because you almost took that man's life? Why should you be named the number one contender? Because in an Inferno match, you set your brother on fire?
For the second time.
Should you be named the number one contender because you ask yourself, am I as good as Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Watch it.
Should you be named the number one contender because you want to be the champion again more than life itself? Ooh. Which one of these men truly deserves to be the number one contender? Well, you know what, gentlemen? We're going to find out right here tonight in this very ring when the three of you compete in a triple threat match.
What? Whoa! Folks, we're going to find out in a triple threat match. This could be more intense and out of control than the Hell in the Cell. My God!
All right, so McMahon's kind of going to tease us a little bit with who's going to be the number one contender, and he gradually introduces some contenders like Mankind, Kane, The Undertaker. So he says to Mankind, I want to publicly thank you for everything you've done for us here in the WWF. Kane, last week I called you a role model, which you did. Called him a role model. Doesn't drink beer, doesn't curse, doesn't peg fingers. But then he goes on to say, you are one of the most stupidest men. You know, giving Stone Cold the title shot last week was nothing short of dumb. Then he goes to The Undertaker, and you evil, diabolical excuse for a human being. Why should you be named number one contender? Because you almost killed this man, Mankind. You burned your brother in an Inferno match. So McMahon has been constantly trying to make The Undertaker look like, you know, he's the devil. He's the most diabolical. You think I'm bad. Undertaker is the real monster here. You know, so yeah, they're kind of getting that across little by little. I think that The Undertaker might really be a bad guy here, and the crowd's not really buying it yet because you have Kane, Mankind, and McMahon kind of outshining him in that area of being the villain, whereas the audience isn't buying into The Undertaker as a villain yet. But McMahon is saying it clearly to us every week that Undertaker is the meanest one here. He's the baddest one here. So, again, that's another layer of writing that you don't notice until you know what happens. It's like going back and watching a movie and be like, oh, shit, they told us all along what was going to happen. It was right there.
Which you're good to point, find that and kind of identify when that happens in WWE storylines, which is pretty cool. Because you've brought that up, over our 28 episodes, and you're always kind of catching that stuff.
Yeah. That's because I know what happens now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we're going to get this match where it's going to be a number one contenders match. So he's putting them all into this match. Undertaker versus Kane versus Mankind. And this is going to happen at the later portion of the show, happening at 1 hour, 23 minutes and 50 seconds. Going to go until about 1 hour, 35 minutes and 8 seconds, which is the very end of the show. And what you're going to have is Vince McMahon come out in commentary. Austin's going to come out in commentary, and McMahon's going to be like, what the fuck again? Every time I come out for commentary, Austin comes out for commentary. So they both get down there. They're barking at each other for a lot of the entrance here. Austin's going to threaten McMahon. Vince tells Austin, why are you always going to resort to violence? Why don't you grow up?
Why do you got to be like that?
Yeah. And he said that before. He said that maybe like a month ago. Why are you going to be so physical? Yeah. Why are you going to resort to violence? Why are you going to be like that? Austin responds, violence is the only thing that seems to work around here, which I thought was just perfect response. It's like so true.
Yeah.
Everyone else is being violent with each other. Well, so do I. I got to be violent too if I want to compete in this game. So you have Austin McMahon. They're just going back and forth. And they're talking about the fully loaded main event, the tag team match. So hyping that up while we get the introductions. So the introductions take a hell of a long time. So by the time we get to the last introduction, which would be The Undertaker, it's now 1 hour, 30 minutes. And this segment started at 1 hour, 23. So 7 minutes have gone by. And we're not even at the main event yet. So that leaves like 5 minutes left for the show, for that match. So, we're not going to have much of a match, which is always the case with these situations on Raw, which I don't mind in these earlier episodes. Whereas today, if I'm watching, I'll be like, if only 5 minutes, that's bullshit. But now I can see the storytelling for what they were doing. It just worked. It just seemed to work then. I don't know, maybe if in like 15 years, if I go back and watch what's currently on, maybe I'll be like, oh yeah, that made sense. That was good. Who knows? I doubt it though.
Yeah, me too.
So
hard no.
Yeah. So you have Kane and Mankind. They come out, but then the Undertaker's music plays, and he doesn't come out. So they start it again. No Undertaker. What the hell's going on? McMahon says something's wrong. He gets up. He gets into the ring. Austin's like, you shouldn't go in the ring, dumbass. It's not a good spot to be. So we're gonna have some a cool situation going on here for the last part of the match, and we're actually gonna play you the commentary because you don't get much of a match going on, just kind of more of a Stone Cold commentary with McMahon, but some good shit going on. So we're gonna play that audio clip, and then we'll talk about the conclusion of this episode of Raw after you hear the audio. Take a listen.
We're waiting. We saw the Undertaker earlier. We've seen his carnage that he has left here tonight.
From Death Valley, weighing in at 328 pounds,
where's this, Jim? Is he under your hat?
Undertaker.
Almost enough room, but he ain't here.
Don't. These grand entrances, I think maybe he's learning something from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What the hell's that?
You make us wait. It's like the Undertaker is trying to send a message to you, trying to send a message to the individuals in the ring.
Hey, when my music hits, when the glass hits, Stone Cold's on his way to the ring to beat somebody's ass. I don't know what's going on here, but Undertaker ain't afraid of no. Sit down.
Something's wrong.
Oh, like Vince is going to do something about this.
Well, Undertaker has yet to arrive here. We know he's in the arena. We've seen him a couple of times here tonight. We've heard from him.
If I was Vince McMahon, I'd get out of that damn ring. That's a dangerous area to be right now.
Yeah, but Stone Cold, you might be worried about where's your partner? The Undertaker's supposed to be your partner at Fully Loaded. Where is he? He may be gone.
Or do you care?
I really don't care where he's at, but the fact that he's not here is starting to piss me off a little bit. I don't trust him, but I know he ain't afraid of no one in that ring. I'll give him that.
Well, I'll give you that too, so maybe something's happened to him.
What does Vince think he's doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that The Undertaker is not here because he is chicken.
Oh.
Whoa!
Oh.
Wow.
Mr. McMahon has determined that Kane and Mankind will wrestle one-on-one to determine who will be the #1 contender for the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
Vince never misses a beat. Look at him. It's supposed to be a triple threat match. Bam, all of a sudden now it's a single.
And it will be a no-holds-barred contest.
Wait a minute.
Well, we got to have a match.
That's a license to main with these two.
We got to find out who the #1 contender is.
And
Mr. McMahon is
pinfalls
sick.
count
That's a
anywhere
sadistic
in the
stipulation.
building.
Listen.
Oh, falls anywhere in the building, please.
Yeah, let's get it on.
Hell is Raw is War. Let's get it on. Undertaker's missing the boat here. He had a chance to be the #1 contender.
But now look at
Mankind is...
Vince is telling Mankind to get the heck into the ring. He's not going.
Mr. McMahon's got some egg on his face with the Undertaker no showing here.
I have given enough, and I'm not giving for you anymore, because I will not, under any circumstances, fight my friend Kane.
Whoa. What? First we got no Undertaker.
That's been a pretty traumatic 8 days for Mankind, to say the least, starting at the King of the Ring.
Get up and do something.
Look at Mr. McMahon.
Get up.
McMahon is telling Kane to attack Mankind.
I thought Mankind was supposed to be a sick, sadistic son.
What the hell is this? What do you mean? What do you mean?
He ain't doing nothing. You loved him last month when he came out and saved the day. Now he's sitting there on his ass, afraid to be the #1 contender.
Yeah, no one's afraid of you. If you're thinking they're afraid of you, pal,
I didn't say they was afraid of me. They're afraid to be the #1 contender, to step in that. Someone's got to
Damn it,
step in the
start
ring.
this match, I said. Get it on. Now.
I done beat Kane once, I'll beat him again.
Well, here comes Kane.
Falls count anywhere.
No
holds barred.
Yeah, anything goes here. And the #1 contender for the WWF title is at stake.
Mankind ain't even gonna lift a finger. Get up, you gutless coward.
And Kane is gonna hit him, Kane. Hit him.
No, don't hit him.
Hit him, Kane. Blast him. Blast him, Kane. Yeah. Blast him. Blast him.
Match is with him, not me.
What?
Good God Almighty! Kane just hit Mankind right in the head with that chair.
Well, that's what he gets for not getting off his ass and getting in the ring and fighting.
This is what the WWF is all about. Yes, Kane and Mankind. Mankind refused to fight Kane. The Undertaker didn't have the guts to show up. Kane is going to be the #1 contender.
Well, there's your little Mankind, like you said, willing to risk it all. Hell, he just did. Didn't get off his ass and got knocked silly because of it.
Mankind's got to have a concussion after that shot to the head, and now it may be academic.
Covering.
What is he doing?
Yeah, that's it. Drag him around the ring.
Like a Mankind being dragged like a carcass.
And Kane now. Kane. Yeah.
What in the hell?
Now, make the announcement.
Here is your winner, Kane.
What about it, Austin?
Right, Kane. Look. Oh, it's not Kane. It's the Undertaker. It's the Undertaker. The Undertaker's the #1 contender.
So Vince McMahon gets into the ring. And like I said, Austin says it's a stupid-ass move to do. But McMahon tells the ring announcer, I think it's Tony Kimmel, something like that. Kimmel? Whatever. Not Kimmel. Chimmel? Tony Chimmel.
I don't remember.
Chimmel sounds right.
Yeah, Chimmel.
Yeah, Chimmel.
Kimmel.
So he tells him, and this is what he announces, due to the fact that The Undertaker is not here because he is a chicken shit, Mr. McMahon has determined that Kane and Mankind will wrestle one-on-one to determine who the #1 contender will be. It will be a no-holds-barred contest. Pins, falls count anywhere in the building. And McMahon says, he rolls out of the ring. He says, I've given enough. I will not fight my friend Kane. And McMahon tells Kane to attack Mankind. Austin is pointing out that Mankind is sitting on his ass. He's a lazy ass. He needs to get the hell up. He's afraid to be #1 contender. What the hell is going on here? What's this crap? And Kane sets up to hit Austin with the chair, but then turns to Mankind and whacks him in the head. And Vince McMahon says, Undertaker doesn't have the guts to show up. And then Kane gets Mankind in the ring, pins him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. McMahon even says something like, he says Kane? Like, question mark Kane? And he gets the win, and then McMahon says, how about it, Austin? Kane! And then it cuts right to Kane, and Kane rips his mask off, and it's the fucking Undertaker. Fucking awesome. That's probably one of the coolest Undertaker segments in a while. Like, I love all this cool shit from, like, 91 when he's, the original Undertaker. But there was a period of time where he's kind of lame, like, I don't know, 96, 90.
Yeah, he's fucking boring.
Yeah, he's just boring. Yeah.
He's just...
But this whole run...
His character really hadn't evolved. Yeah, now his character's finally, like, evolving.
Right. Ever since he cut that promo where he had his bandana on, that's when he's started to become a little bit better of a character. A little...
Yep. It wasn't as cartoony.
Right, a little bit more real. And this was just cool because now he's surprised everybody. He tricked everybody. He tricked McMahon, and he got his number one contender match. The only thing missing is what happened to Kane. So, we'll see on next week's episode. I'm sure they'll cover it. I haven't watched ahead yet, but you would imagine like Kane is tied up in the back, like he wasn't able to get out to the ring. So that was cool. So Undertaker is the number one contender, is what JR says at the end. So that's what we're gonna go with right now. Undertaker is the number one contender. And that's probably what they stick with, but there's ways around that. McMahon could say, it was supposed to be Kane. You pretended you were Kane, so Kane gets the title shot.
Yeah, could have been.
Right. So there's ways around it. So we'll see what happens in the weeks to come. But, we'll be leading up to Fully Loaded, and there's a match coming up, Undertaker and Stone Cold versus Kane and Mankind. So we got this dynamic, it's been playing out basically all through the summer, or actually you could even go back and say it started right after WrestleMania with the two Dude Love matches and Vince McMahon trying to take the belt away, and Dude Love couldn't do it, so now he had to bring in Kane, get Kane involved, and now the Undertaker feels like he's shortchanged and he wants a title shot. And why is all the bad guys getting shot? Why is Kane getting a shot? Why is Mick Foley getting a shot and he's not? So now Undertaker's just working his way into this title picture. And so he is kind of orchestrating, a chance for him to get the shot at the title.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of hungry top card guys right now that feel like they warrant, getting a shot at the title.
Right, and Vince McMahon's only thinking, I got to get, these heels against him, but not giving a shot to any of the other, big baby faces.
And what I love about the number one contenders match, as much as it's not of a match, is there's just a few little things that kind of stand out. So obviously, Vince is he's annoyed, like, inmates can't be running the asylum, and he legitimately has no control during this whole segment. The inmates are running the asylum. Mankind don't want to wrestle. Undertaker's not. Mankind doesn't want to wrestle Kane. Undertaker's not showing up, and he's visibly annoyed that Taker isn't there. And there's just a little point where he takes off his headset and he says something's wrong. So it almost sends the illusion that maybe, maybe something real's happening, like
right,
and like that Taker's not there.
Yep.
And it's just as he's taking the headset off, he says something's wrong. So you catch it through the headset, but then you catch the second half of that not through the headset.
Yep. Just
little theatrics like that just come over great. And Vince was a natural at that shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then even just the Undertaker taking off the Kane mask and revealing that it was me. So, and you didn't know that either. And even just the simple thing of Austin coming out and saying, "I'm doing commentary. I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, that too.
Right.
It's a
complete... he has no control. Yeah, that's great. That's a great pickup there. That early in the show, he says, inmates aren't going to run it, but they actually did end up running it.
Yeah, like as much as they could possibly run it, they did.
Yeah. All right, so very cool ending there, and we'll definitely be getting into more of this next week, building up to Fully Loaded. But let's get into the side notes before we head off here. With got the Brawl for All, we got Brockus versus Savio Vega, and this is an example of how somebody's character could just end on a dime with this. Because you have Brockus who barely did anything. They had the promos of Brockus come in, Brockus, and never seen him wrestle at all. I don't remember much of him at all in all these Raws that we watched. But here he is, and he's going to be in this tough man competition, and Savio Vega beats the shit out of him, like every round. Like Savio Vega's a legit fighter, it seems. You know, he can punch, he can move, he freaking busts his nose open. You know, Savio freaking wins this match easy. They don't even have to look at the numbers on this one. They just say Savio Vega's the winner. So Brock's character is squashed at this point. How can you come back when Savio Vega kicked your ass?
Yeah, seriously.
Then you got Hawk and
Even
Puke.
though Vega. It's funny. We finally brought up Savio Vega again.
It's back.
It's Vega saga time. Yeah, but no, he he actually knows how to hold his own. You can tell like there's some training in there.
Oh yeah.
How some of these guys look lost when they throw punches and shit, like Brackus.
Yeah, Savio Vega.
Just clearly just a bodybuilder.
Yeah, Vega looked like a fighter. I'd say Bradshaw looked like one too.
Mm-hmm.
Even Hawk in the next one. And Puke to an extent too. Puke looks kind of sloppy a little bit, but he does get into good punches. And this match comes down to a draw. Hawk, all of a sudden, Hawk looks like he's way out of shape. I noticed.
Yeah, he does.
It's like only been like a month. When they first came out as LOD 2000, he looked pretty damn good. And now it's only like a month or 2 months later, and he looks all flabby. So must have been having a bad diet during those couple months. Or maybe he had an injury and didn't take care of himself.
Yeah, he wasn't working out as hard.
Yeah.
Pulled the muscle.
All right. We got a blast from the past. Okay, so we have this Ken Shamrock King of Kings thing going on, and one former king must have felt left out and comes in from the crowd. You get King Mabel, the 1995 King of the Ring, come in and do a big splash to Shamrock, and Shamrock's so pissed off he challenges Mabel to a fight later on. And Ken Shamrock kicks the shit out of Mabel. And I don't know what goes on for Mabel at that point. I know he eventually becomes Viscera.
Yeah.
But that's not for a while. Not until The Undertaker becomes heel. So I don't think...
He's only 27 years old here, too.
Mabel?
That's so crazy. So you can kind of... Yeah.
Wow. So he was 24.
I looked it up because I was curious.
So he was 24 when he won King of the Ring.
Yeah, so like they obviously had big plans for him considering his age, his size.
Yeah, they were trying to push him big time.
Because I think when I looked earlier, I believe he passed away. He was only in his 40s.
Oh.
I think that was, 5 years ago? He passed away, 2014.
Oh, wow.
So he was still young.
Yeah.
He still had a lot of career ahead of him, even when he passed. So.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, so you have that going on. We'll see where that goes. I don't know how much more former Kings you get. There's not many more. You know, there's Bret Hart from 93. And then there's Stone Cold, 96. Those are the other Kings of the Ring from that era on pay-per-view. And I doubt they're getting involved. Well, Bret Hart definitely is not getting involved with Shamrock. And I know Austin's not going to come out like, hey, I was a King of the Ring too. I'll kick your ass. He doesn't give a shit about that.
No, he's the fucking champ.
Right. All right, so you got Kane and Mankind. They're going to start to interfere in people's matches like Vader and Bradshaw. Undertaker's going to do a similar thing later in a match between D'Lo and Terry Funk and chokeslam the hell out of them. And it was a pretty cool match between D'Lo and Terry Funk. You know, just because I like D'Lo, I think he's underrated. And then Terry Funk, of course. So they put on a nice little match with a few little cool spots with the frog splash. And you had Terry Funk doing a moonsault off the second rope into the guardrail.
Yeah,
like, he broke his leg. But now back to some Brawl for All shit. Mark Merrow, he lost his Brawl for All match, and he was like this highly touted boxer or whatever. And he's gonna come out with Jacqueline, and Jacqueline's gonna make an excuse for him. He's gonna say, he lost that match, because the night before he went 12 rounds. He went 12 rounds, and I made his gas tank empty. He had been deprived for a very long time. Sable wasn't fulfilling his needs. She may look good, but there's no motor under the hood. Some of these lines are pretty cool. And then Sable even comes.
I like Jack.
Yeah, she was pretty badass. She got those nips popping in that shirt too.
Hell yeah, I love those things.
I gotta find that spot where a tit pops out.
Oh, I'd probably see that every few years.
Every few years.
Google it. Yeah. It's there. Doesn't even get censored.
All right, so
Google image that shit.
Sable's going to come out to defend herself, and she even starts with the little liners, and she goes, Mark's tire was flat. It wasn't an issue with me. Mark's tire was flat. So I thought it was a pretty cool segment, and this leads to what will be a bikini contest at Fully Loaded. And I believe this is the bikini contest where Sable has the handprints on.
Yeah, the potato sack.
No, we already saw the.
No.
We already
She doesn't
saw the
have
potato sack.
But this is the handprints one. This is the better one.
Yeah,
This is like where you thought the potato sack couldn't get any better. This does.
Right. So we have that to look forward to next week when we get the Fully Loaded. And then you had Kai and Tai. You had more of the Val Venus and Kai and Tai going on, where Yamaguchi-san's wife, and it's funny, Yamaguchi-san. I guess Yamaguchi-san, he's not even like from Japan or anything. He's like American, Asian American.
Is he? He's up there at like. Oh, he's Asian American. Yeah.
Yeah. So he just speaks regular English. So his accent's not a real accent. It's just.
Oh, he forces it. He fakes it. He's selling out his own people. Jeez, this guy. Rest in peace.
I believe that's so. It could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I just like because now knowing like his accent's fake, he goes, "Oh, sorry, no more hello babies," and he goes, "Oh, ladies," because he got it wrong.
Yeah, who am I kidding? Yeah, he was definitely exaggerating it anyway.
No more hello babies. But then the side note to end all side notes, the side note that steals the show for generations, just a segment that fucking kicks ass is the DX comes out, and they've been hyping, DX is gonna come out, DX is gonna come out, but then the Nation's music hits. You're like, what is this? DX was scheduled to be here, and then you have the whole crew of DX come out dressed as members of the Nation. Triple H is dressed as The Rock. He has the European Championship with IC, with electrical tape writing with the writing IC on the European Championship belt. X-Pac is out there in complete blackface as Mizark.
Mizark, I love that.
Mizark, as in like because they speak the fuck's it called? Carney. Speak Carney, so Mizark. It's kind of like Snoop Dogg language. Shizzle. You just add the is into it. So if you say it fast, people might not understand what you're saying. So I guess a Mizark is a mark. Mizark in the business, a mark. So he was Mizark Henry, and it's funny because Jerry Lawler says, "What's Mizark?" And JR says, "You Nizzo."
I didn't catch that. That's funny. JR's awesome.
And you got Billy Gunn also. Well, most of them are going to be in blackface because it's talking about the Nation. But Billy Gunn is dressed as the Godfather with the hat. He's got the cigar. He's got tattoos on his arms. And Road Dogg, hilarious. He comes out with like this cross-color type hat. Really popular in the early 90s, cross-color. It was like the reds, the yellows, and black. And he's got that little beanie cap on. And he's dressed as Bilo. And he has the old school baseball chest protector, which we said D'Lo's wearing a baseball chest protector, but he's wearing like a more modern one at the time. But Road Dogg comes out with like the 70s kind. He's wearing like one of those old 70s baseball chest protectors with like the ribbed lines going all the way down, and then the part where it covers your nuts.
Yep.
He's got that old school one on, which is funny because it's just calling out, "That's what you're wearing, man. You're wearing a baseball protector." So I'm going to wear one too. Wear the old one. But then you get the unknown Jason Sensation that steals the show as Owen Hart.
Yep. Sure does.
So they all get their little parts on here. And you got Triple H as the Croc, and smell what the Croc is cooking. I just came back from the bathroom, and you should have smelled what the Rock was cooking. And everybody, the whole crowd's loving this shit. You got Billy Gunn, pimps up, hose down, West Side. But then Jason, like I said, Jason Sensation steals the show. I am not a nugget. And, I can't do it justice. JV can't do it justice. So when this show ends, at the end, we usually play some kind of music, whether it's a Stone Cold or something that just came up in conversation. We're going to play this skit for you when we close the show. So listen to that clip of the DX Nation. Fucking memorable as hell. So
yeah, enjoy it in all its greatness.
Right. And definitely go back
because
and watch it.
Jason Sensation steals the show, but my second favorite is Road Dogg as B-Lo.
Yeah. He just gets on the. I mean, yeah, you got to watch the video to give it justice because after everything that happens, he like goes to the rope and starts shaking his head like D-Lo. And he repeats everything too.
They all do such a great job nailing it. What's funny though is how China like isn't used.
I know.
I wonder if they had like thoughts of using her, and they were like, "Nah, we got to get Jason Sensation." Like they must have known that this guy did a good Owen Hart impersonation or something, or impression, whatever the fuck you call it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, probably one of the top 3 skits on Raw all time.
Yeah, definitely memorable, hilarious. Yeah, it's probably one of the best things Triple H has done.
Yeah.
And this is like, as the new DX, this is the best thing that they've done yet. You know, because prior to this, it was just a little
post HBK.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just stupid little gags, peeing on bikes, and just nonsense up until that point. And this kind of just
like
breaks them out a little bit more. The crowd starts to like them even more at this point.
Yeah, I mean the crowd standing up and like applauding before they even said anything, just because of how damn good their outfits look coming down the ring.
You know, and this feud had been going on for a little while too. It just, I didn't think it was coming though. I felt like this was later too. I was like, oh shit, it's here already. Even then, I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, I guess they've been fighting for a few weeks now. So it did lead to this.
When I saw it in the notes, I was like, oh no shit, already?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
Sweet.
But I was like super excited for it. I was like, yeah, I can't wait to get to that part.
Me too.
So there it is. Again, listen to the end, the closing, after we wrap things up. Play that clip for you. So let's get into our wrap up here. First off, house show rundown. Well, there is no house show rundown because Austin was injured with the staph infection, so he stayed away from house shows for the week from King of the Ring up until this point of this Raw taping. Basically, well, actually, we just covered 3 days in a row. We covered the pay-per-view, the Monday Raw, and then the Tuesday taping. That was it. Yep. So we did 3 days. So there was no house show rundown. He's actually not going to go on a house show until July 10th. All right, so that brings us now to our oh hell yeah moment. JV, what do you got?
My oh hell yeah moment, I have it here. Let me bring it up. Is actually the Undertaker revealing himself as Kane.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Because even rewatching it, I forgot that that's what was going to happen. So, like, as Kane's Undertaker, Kane, whatever the fuck you want to refer him as, is in the ring and stuff, like, it doesn't hit me that that's Taker under the mask because I forgot. And then it all starts to, come together. I'm like, oh, that's why the lights are dark. It gets to hide that even more so the fans can't really, like, point out that it's not actually Kane in the costume.
Yeah.
So, that's my oh hell yeah moment of the week.
Yeah, that's a good one. And almost made me want to change to it, but I'm going to stick with what I put originally, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin winning back the championship on Raw that next night. It's just, it was a shock for him to lose it, but then the next night on Raw for him to win it back is like, all right, whew, thank God, he got it back.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, exactly.
And Vince McMahon, it didn't last for McMahon. You got to start all over. Now you got to try to get it off him again. So that was my oh hell yeah, getting back that championship after one night. Now, oh hell no. My oh hell no is pretty easy, and I think you might have the same thing, but if not, well, let's see what you got. I got the Brawl for All. It's my oh hell no moment of
just as a whole
of 2 weeks. Yeah, the whole damn thing and the whole skit of it, the whole idea.
I was originally going to pick that in brackets specifically, but then I'm like, that's going to be like a hell no for like the next fucking few episodes.
Yeah, I'll just use it.
Fucking suck.
I'll use it just this one time.
I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna put that one in the can and save that one for a future episode. But mine is actually Yamaguchi's son mocking Val Venus and gyrating his hips, like he puts his hands behind his head and isn't like.
That's funny though.
Bad. I'm like, it's funny, but hell no.
Hell no.
That's my hell no moment. Yamaguchi's son gyrating his hips in front of Val Venus.
All right, so now that brings us to what's coming up on Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. We kind of talked about it already, but next week we'll be covering July of 1998, leading up to Fully Loaded. So we have 2 episodes of Raw, then Fully Loaded. So we'll be covering those 3 shows next week on episode 29, releasing on April 10th. This Saturday, though, we got our double feature, our watch-along special edition from King of the Ring 98. The final 2 matches, Hell in a Cell match, leading into the first blood match between Kane and Stone Cold. So Undertaker versus Mankind in the Cell, followed by Kane and Stone Cold in First Blood. And you'll see what we're talking about when you watch along, that they kind of just blend together as being one match with different contestants. It's all the same storyline. So check that out this Saturday. And we also still have a poll coming, watch along, not a poll, but a watch along based on a poll that we took a little while back. That's Austin versus Bret Hart from Survivor Series 96. That's still yet to come. We'll get that at some point. But we didn't forget about it. It's still there, and we'll still get it out there. And we'll let you know. Or it might just come out one day. So it could be a surprise. Or it could be a replacement for something that goes wrong. Never know. So we'll see. So that's what's coming up on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. And now I just want to connect you guys to a couple podcasts that we're friends with, and that's Talking Taker and Booking the Territory. But first, let's take a listen to Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker, talk about what his show is all about. So take a listen to Alex.
Dead man walking.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Stone Cold fans? This is Alex Dorio, one of the hosts of Talking Taker. And along with my co-host and fellow creature of the night, Travis White, we are digging up the career of the dead man, one pay-per-view match at a time, on a podcast journey that's a lot like what you're listening to right now on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. So if you're enjoying what Mike and JV are doing here, going through the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, come check us out as we explore the Undertaker's 3 decades of destruction. We're right in the midst of the Biker Taker era right now, so you can jump right in or start over from the beginning and hear us discuss the Undertaker side of the story, from his many battles with the Rattlesnake, The Rock, Mankind, and more. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, and more. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Talking Taker. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy. What? I said, take her easy.
All right, so that's Talking Taker. This week on Talking Taker, they're covering Insurrection 2002, which is Undertaker versus Triple H from May of 2002. So take a listen to that, and also go back into the archives and take a look of Undertaker's career and all his matches leading up to 2002, going all the way back to 1991, actually to November of 1990 at the Survivor Series in his debut. Definitely some good shit back there in the archives. So take a listen to Talking Taker. Then also, shout out to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast hosted by Mike Mills, along with Hardbody Hopper and Doc Turner. And those guys cover NWA, WCW, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. On Thursdays, they drop NWA, WCW episodes. Those are the old TBS Saturday Night 605 spot. And they're currently in 1987. This week they'll be covering December 5th, 1987, so heading into 1988. And then on Sundays, they drop the Smoky Mountain Wrestling episodes, and they'll be covering episode 137, which is September 10th of 1994. So go take a listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast. When I say unprofessional, hell yeah, unprofessional. So take a listen to those 2 shows, Talking Taker and Booking the Territory.
Hey, before you leave, hey!
You can reach out to us on social media.
What?
On Twitter, of course, at MPRU83 is where you can find me, Mike.
What?
And you can find JV at John Van Damage. And you can also find our show at Bottom Line Cast.
What?
Hey, reach out to us also at different formats. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe on whatever platform it is that you listen to us. iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, Radio Public, among many others. And if you're on iTunes, definitely please give us a 5-star review and write up a review for us, please, because that could help us out a lot. So thank you guys for listening. JV, any final thoughts before we head out of here?
No final thoughts, but looking forward to next week, and obviously doing our watch-alongs on Friday.
I can't wait for that. All right, guys, so this Saturday, watch-along. Next Wednesday, rest of July, leading into Fully Loaded. See you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to listen to this DX promo coming up right now. So long.
You smell what The Rock is cooking?
Wait a minute. We're expecting DX here. Must be the Nation's coming out. no.
Oh my gosh, JR, look at this.
I am not believing this. Well, you got to know your role, and I think we're going to find out what everybody's role is here. Now,
Look at DX. I mean, of the nation. Look at the front, Rock. And look at B-Lo over there.
B-Lo. Look at that thing. That yahoo dressed up like Owen Hart.
I guess they're going to come down here and lay some SmackDown.
Well, I can tell you this. I know that The Rock is in Miami and is home watching this tonight. Owen Hart's in Calgary, and Mark Henry's down in Texas.
And I'll bet the furniture in all three of their houses are flying around the room right now. Look at this guy. No. What?
Well, we have not seen DX all day, folks, which is very uncharacteristic for these guys.
What is that, Neozard? What does that mean?
You Neozo.
Look at this. This is great. He is The Rock. Look.
The part of The Rock will now be played by Triple H. Look at that eyebrow.
Hips up, toes down.
Look at the Godfather.
We're see.
What'd that mean?
Classic. You ready to smell what The Rock's cooking?
You know, the Croc just came from the bathroom.
Croc.
And you should have smelled what The Rock was cooking.
Oh,
Look at B-Lo.
Nation ain't gonna like this.
I ain't faking. You should have smelled what The Rock was baking.
The Rock was baking. Brother was baking.
Look at D-Lo. He's the man. He's gonna shake his hand. I'm sorry, that's B-Lo. Uh-oh.
What's going on here now?
Wait a minute. Uh-oh, it's the people's elbow, JR.
Ah, the best damn elbow in the business, according to The Rock. Look at this.
As a matter of fact,
People's elbow.
And the people are standing up. Look at this.
when it comes to the Croc and the ladies, and the Croc hits rock bottom, he has no choice but to lay the smack down on himself.
You hear that? The brother smacks himself down.
Oh, look at me go.
Oh, man. Can you imagine The Rock? He's broken every piece of furniture in his living room right now.
Hey, wait a minute. Look at this guy. Is that his nose or did they park a bus on his face?
Supposed to be Owen Hart.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Listen to that. It is Owen Hart. Did you hear that
So
voice?
what? Nobody listens to me. Nobody gives a damn what I think. And what the hell am I doing wearing this ridiculous outfit? I look like a damn road sign. What the hell am I? A school crossing? You know, I tried to be a tough guy, but I just couldn't grow my damn beard in. And you know what? I am not a nugget. I'm a black heart, damn it. A winner, a soul survivor. Woo!
Oh, things are not well in Calgary tonight.
That is Owen Hart.
And if anybody smells what The Rock is cooking, it's me. Look how big my damn nose is. What the hell am I? An aardvark?
What does the brother look like? An aardvark?
B-Lo, look at B-Lo.
Hey, Rock.
Neozard Henry.
I don't know what you're cooking. Smells like
Oh, my.
but I think I'll eat some anyway.
You know something, Mark Henry? Miazark Henry.
Right.
I know you're the world's strongest man, and the Croc's got a hell of a body himself, But there's one thing the people want to know. How do you get your pecs to go all the way around to your back like that?
Oh, man.
What he wants to know is how.
Shut up! Look. Shut your mouths and know your role. Nation, it's real simple. We got 2 words for you. Suck it!
Boy, you talking about throwing some gas